Good afternoon, good morning, good night, and welcome to a very special, very important edition of Mike in the Night. It is I, Mike Martins, broadcasting out of Merritt, British Columbia. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us, and hopefully we get a good lineup of guests on the show tonight. Some of them are already pre-warned to come on, or some of them are pre-warned that they're coming on, so people know what's going on. And today is the 7th of October, 2018. Wherever you're watching this, connecting the English-speaking world. From New Zealand to Australia and Australia over to the UK to Canada and down to the United States. Thank you for watching me and tuning in. I want to thank everyone that's sending me, that has been sponsoring me on the Super Chat. And everyone that's been sponsoring me on PayPal, I really want to appreciate that. I appreciate that very much. And before we kick off tonight's show, Faith Goldy has a message on her channel here. She's asking for support. Anything that's right-leaning is pretty much shunned or shun out of just not getting emails or people not getting notifications. And that's what's happening. And Kevin Worthington is a good example of that. He's in the comments saying, "Hey, Mike, I don't get emails from YouTube about your videos anymore." I know. I have it set to notify existing subscribers. And unfortunately, no one's getting any more notifications anymore. And I don't know what to do. They just don't care for people like me. You know what I'm saying? Or people like us, or people that like to think outside the box and challenge the status quo, right? So Faith Goldy has a message for us. It's really important, guys. So I want to kick it off. Yeah, so Kevin Worthington's right here saying, "Mike, I'm subscribed and I have the bell clicked." Yeah, I know you do. I know you do. You've been following me for what, like 5 years now? I know you do. Kevin, I'm doing fantastic, buddy. I'll have you on the show. Add me on Skype. I'd like to have you on the show. Everybody that comments in the comment section should add me on Skype. Skype is the clearest of them all. Direct phone line is always muffly and echoey. For some reason, if you got a good Wi-Fi connection, Skype is really good. So, okay, guys. Let's hear what Faith Goldy has to say. She needs our help, so let's get this rolling here real quick before I kick off the show.
Of power by a Toronto media outlet, I'm suing. The case is a total winner, but we need cash to get justice. More on this in a moment, but first, the story. Last month, the Faith Goldy for Toronto Mayor campaign bought and paid for commercial time on the TV news station CP24. It was a done deal until I got a disturbing call from a salesman there saying that the company was returning my money and refusing to air my ads.
Faith, I'm sorry. We're not going to be able to run the ads. We're sorry for the inconvenience. We will refund your money by next week. I'm sorry.
What they did is illegal. The laws regarding fair access to the media couldn't be more clear. Candidates are entitled to equal access, period. The idea that CP24 would be so brazen in their bias is an outrage. If you ever worry that the media is trying to control election outcomes, look no further than this case. We have the proof, we have the legal team, now all we need is the funding. We are about to hire the top name in the game. We're about to go up against the big guns of Bell Media, so we wouldn't do it any other way. But that comes with a big retainer price. I need to raise $50,000. I know what you're thinking, that's a fortune, and I agree with you. But this is regrettably just the price of achieving democracy and justice in Canada. See, regular police don't deal with these types of crimes. Only the for-profit legal sector can take this on. The weasels in the mainstream media count on this. It's how they get away with lying and cheating we the people. So now, the question becomes, what are you willing to pay to see this crooked media held to account for election engineering? Please donate whatever you can via my website, faithgoldy.ca, or e-transfer to faithgoldy@gmail.com.
So, guys, I wanted to throw this up there before I kicked off tonight's show. It's very important that we are being... The more quiet they make us, the more louder we get. And that's what's happening. Anyone who is right-leaning, anyone who's conservative, believes in the old-fashioned way, there's classic liberals. So, here's the deal. There's classic liberals. My parents are classic Liberal Party people. From the early 80s. They're like the old-timer liberals. But liberalism has changed so much. A lot. Okay? Other people from other places like the UK, from Australia, from New Zealand, they're like, well, Mike, it's not as bad here. I don't know what you're talking about. But no, you see, other countries have different levels of liberalism, right? So maybe I gotta get together with Mark Dice and create a gauge of liberalism abnormality thingies, you know what I'm saying? And speaking of Mark Dice, he was on live today, he did a live stream, and Super Chats is finally working. Anyone that Super Chats me, basically, I'm receiving the funds now, because I was scared of people Super Chatting me, and where's the money going, right? So I actually received the funds, and I want to thank everyone who has Super Chatted me. Wow. It gets some sort of incentive for doing this every day. You know what I mean? So that's Faith Goldy, guys. We need to support her. We really need to. We need to give her anyone that could support her in her campaign. I've already supported her, and I've supported Mark Dice today too, when he was live. So, anyways, let's move on, guys. Food. So what are we covering today? Food going up. Retail store closures for Thanksgiving 20 closures announced for 2018. So many stories in recent years have tied up holiday shoppers by opening on Thanksgiving Day rather than waiting for Black Friday. So, these are the stores that are closing for Thanksgiving. Oh, it scared the crap out of me. I saw a list of stores there. We're going to talk about retail store closures. Canadian farmers getting affected. Grocery store chain warrants higher food prices coming. Man, that sucks. More grocery store chain set to increase price on food. We want to talk about the gas price in your area. Gas prices uncharacteristically going up. So they use like fancy words, so we don't know what the hell they're talking about. AAA Texas, global oil supply and demand concerns send gas prices up. Gas prices expected to jump for the long weekend. So gas prices, guys, it's not looking good on the horizon here for the price of gas. The price of everything is going up, and I don't know why. So Ken Worthington saying that Faith is going to win the lawsuit. Oh, 1,000,000%. So we got to get our friends out east first. I need to get the guys out in Eastern Canada first because it's almost midnight there. So I'm going to have a thing on first. I'm going to get Mario on real quick. He wants to let us know something, and he messaged me his phone number. So I'll get him on the line right now and see what he has to say or what he's up to, because he's got some news for us. So let's see if we get a hold of him here. So I'm calling him on a landline, so which is a bit better than calling on a cell. So let's see what Mario's got in store for us. We'll see if we can get Rex Cohen on the show. I tried calling him earlier, but I think he got arrested.
Hello?
Who the hell is this?
It's the Lost Canuck.
How are you, my brother?
I'm just getting a little tired, but I'm okay.
Yeah, I know it's getting really late there. So, what is going on, buddy? I saw your rant earlier today was really good.
Oh, thanks, buddy. Just venting out, I guess, on the usual politics that's going on in I could say in North America, in the States, and in Canada itself. I don't think we have a democracy anymore. It's been gone, like you said. We had a phone call discussion, and I think from the 60s till now, it's a pretend democracy or a pretend display.
What do we agree on? November 22nd, 1963?
Yes, correct.
Because that's when the media full blown lied to us that we know about during the Kennedy assassination, and ironically, that's when the term conspiracy theorist was spun on that day.
Yes, correct. That's when that word came out in capital letters. You're
That's
correct.
Right. That's correct. That's correct. So, what's going on? How you feeling? Are you excited that Kavanaugh got elected?
Oh, buddy, I don't think I've ever been so. You could say just waiting on the sidelines for that team to have a power play.
Oh yeah. Are they going to drain the swamp?
Oh, buddy, I think it's going to filter it real good. First, it's going to filter it, then it's going to drain it. I think he's got to vote for another two. No, Mike, another two judge.
I think he's in. I think I just saw on Fox that he was in. Voted in.
No, he's in, but they got another two judges that got to go in.
Oh
they?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know too much about Supreme Court's judiciary system. I'm not too sure. I mean, I know a bit of it, but I live in Canada, so I know as much as I know, right? So I'm just following the flow, you know what I'm saying? Kind of in the know as we go, as if that makes any sense.
No, but here's a question I want to ask you now. Now, if they drain the swamp there, is Canada going to have names or politicians that are going to be involved in these indictments?
Well, yes and no. Like, if you want to start tying, oil, gas, or anything like that was on the back burner or in the back room, deals with oil, trade agreements, electricity agreements and stuff that went against our Canadian Constitution or our you know what I'm saying?
Yes, correct.
Maybe. It's really tough to say. I know America has its own pots to boil, you know? So its own, its own can of worms that they need to open and start, I guess, separating the lies from the truths.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. So, okay, I want to ask you real quick. What's the price of gas in your area?
It's funny. In the morning, it starts off at about an average of about $1.25 to $1.28.
Mm-hmm.
In the night, it drops down to $1.15, $1.11.
That is so pleasant to hear because I'm paying $1.19, $1.20 where I am, but in Vancouver, I think it's still hovering around $1.54.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just like very expensive gas down there, so I avoid that place like the plague. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Toronto's the same way. Toronto's a little bit more. I think they pay, if I'm not mistaken, they pay about 10 cents more.
Mm-hmm.
About $1.40, $1.38, something like that. But it's interesting. And I know Vancouver's got only, 4 million? In BC. So Ontario's got, 13 million?
Yeah, and I think Vancouver has 2 gas stations.
Yeah, so it's going to be very interesting what's going to happen now with this USCM, whatever you want to call it, trade. What's going to happen, and also what's going to happen with the interest rates that they say it's going to go up. I don't know. I'm starting to disbelieve on any theory except our channels or people that are out there with a free channel.
Yeah.
I listen to more to us than anybody out there. I'll listen to economists, just, hearing out. I don't listen to economists that work for banks or
real estate companies.
Yeah. I listen to economists that actually do it for a passion.
Yeah.
Then they make a lot of sense. I don't know if that makes sense for a lot of people, but I look at repeated history of facts. The last time we had a recession, the last time Canada's unemployment rate goes up. This is going to be an interesting time because, Mike, if you remember, last year they always said that our unemployment is doing well, and they compared, like I said, how can you compare apples to oranges when you're comparing part-time to full-time?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, they added to it just to boost the numbers, right?
Yeah. So now you got Christmas that's coming up around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
So now, of course, unemployment's going to go drop because now people are going to hire just before the big Christmas rush.
Right.
then we're going to have the big January, February where things start to slow down and retails.
Well, construction shuts down for the winter in Canada, so that's going to be another one.
Yeah. Oh, it's been shut down. This is the first summer. I want people to understand the first summer that they're laying off people on construction sites. And I'm not talking laying off because of political or not showing up. This is because they're not selling.
Yeah.
Nothing is selling.
And are prices going down in your neck of the woods?
Not yet, not like we wanted to, but eventually it is, because there's, like I said, I think I talked about it the last time I called, is there's one builder that is already advertising prices are going up in October. They have a $15,000 deposit plan, and there's a payment plan for it to save your unit of your condo. So, of course, there's lineups at that, and people are brainwashed because they'll line up to buy this product. But meanwhile, this product is not going to be valued that much when things start to hit, you could say, a recession.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of us, I guess, adapting to it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people understand that we're living at a time that's so interesting, but also very cautious on what we have to spend it on.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have, you see the Trump going on down in the States. Now, I don't know if you saw the Mike Pence conference on the 4th about China, and I know you've been calling for that for years.
Yeah.
I know you've been always saying it.
Mm-hmm.
And he just put it out in plain sight so the media can see it, what they spent it on. China spent so much money on military.
Oh, God.
More than anything.
Oh, God. Dude, they're trading food to buy weapons.
Yeah. And now Trump has already put the tariffs on them. He's already told them that we're not going to be trading with you. We're going to start nailing you on tariffs. And now it's like they're saying, if you want to mess with us, we're going to come after you with the rest of the world. That's what it sounded to me. Because it seems to me China's doing things secretly,
Mm-hmm.
but not really secretly. But you know what I mean, Mike? They're doing it so that, we're doing this and that. But meanwhile, they're doing everything in the kitchen sink
Mm-hmm.
to create their own. I guess you can say their own world.
Yeah. They're basically do what we can till we get caught, or till we get sued, or till we get shut down. Or till China's going to sink. China cannot win against the U.S. in a trade war, because what's going to happen? U.S. is going to ramp up the pressure on oil. You know, the U.S. is really good at manipulating oil prices, right?
That's right.
They're going to create this world tension on oil, this tension, and what's going to happen is it's going to force the price of oil to go up, and then when the price of oil goes up, and the tariffs go on China, and people aren't ordering from China as much, you're going to see a massive devaluation in the yuan. And then what happens with the Chinese, when the Chinese dollar drops, they're going to have to continue buying oil in petrodollars, and they're going to be buying oil in a very severely devalued currency.
That's right.
So that's what's going to happen. The second that the Chinese yuan falters, oh my goodness! And right now it's on pins and needles with a very overly inflated stock market and a severely overinflated housing bubble there.
Right. That's right. That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And let me ask you. Remember, I said to you last time that he would resign.
Mm-hmm.
My opinion is, after he drains the swamp, and just before he does it, or he's got the intention to do it, and everybody starts to know when he's going to pull the trigger,
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to resign. I think Trudeau's going to resign. His father did it, and he's going to do the same thing.
Mm.
He's going to pull the trigger and say, you know what, I'm going to step down, because I think there's more to this than we even imagined.
Yeah.
What he's done.
Yeah. Well, because we're just a common peasant. We don't know anything, right?
That's right.
And that's
right.
what we're made to know is nothing, right?
Yeah, I mentioned to Steve the plumber, and I said, he goes to me, you think that's... I said, yeah, my opinion is he's going to resign.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, if he does resign, and I told everybody, and we never had an NDP in power, not to say that I want that, please. But what I'm saying is we never had an orange.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you come to Ontario, we had NDP, and that was when they resigned. Pearson resigned in Ontario's Liberal leader, and he resigned 2 years into power, and then the NDP took over, and it was just a mess. We had a recession. So now we're going through the same thing in federal, not just Ontario. It's in BC. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
We hear people in Edmonton saying that there's no work. We hear in Saskatoon things are bad.
You know what the key is, Mario? I've said this before. I think I said this couple of years ago. Every province needs to become its own independent country, and every province needs to pass laws for I guess I'll call them laws for their climate. And then I'm not talking about weather. If Winnipeg or whatever is good at potash, they become potash specialists. They take care of their own people. They expand their own cities. Stop paying money to Quebec. BC pays almost all of its money to Quebec.
Yeah, I know. That's another thing, but you're right. That irritates me itself. But now you have a new guy in there, so let's see what this guy's going to do, because that guy was an underdog, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was not even on the radar a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we were talking about it. All of a sudden he goes in, people are fed up, and they say, you know what, enough is enough. Boom. So we're going to see what's going to happen in Quebec. And people got to understand, the provincial government has more power than federal government. You know that, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to their own province. You just said it. So if Doug Ford over here in Ontario decides to say, you know what, Trudeau, screw you. This is what I'm going to do. And that's why he's taking things to court under the Constitution. Because
That's right.
now he's got power.
That's right. Can I ask, let me ask you something. When is Canada going to become a free country?
I don't think it'll ever come unless we get somebody in there that's going to, turn it inside out. And that's going to take maybe your grandkids. Because right now, we're like you said, Mike, we've turned everything into, let's say, being how do you say, when you believe a lie, there's a word for it. When somebody's lying and they believe their lie, and they know it's a lie, but they believe in it. I don't even know the word of it.
Crazy?
No, it's not. Not even crazy. There's another word for it. Senile. Like when you think you could turn it around and fool your own mind, and that's what's happening. It's not like me and you. We understand it. There's guys out there that understand it. We read, we breathe it, we see it, we understand it. But some people still to this day think that Trump is an antichrist or Trump is awful or it just boggles my mind.
You know
Here's
what?
a man that the media went after. Of course he's going to retaliate with his own tweets.
Didn't I call it that Donald Trump was going to win the election when the first day when he put that hat on the first time and went down to the wall?
Yes. I remember you said that. Yes, I did.
I said it 45 times. I didn't say it once. I made many videos about it.
You said it many, many, many times.
Yep. And here's the deal. I have to take my hat off. I'm not wearing a hat right now, but if I was, I would take it off to America. Can I tell you why? Because America is the only country that's legitimately still free. Because of that piece of paper, their constitution, they're a free country. Canada doesn't have that. We still have attorney generals, or what do you call it, those guys from England, and we have to bow to the Queen, and we still have crown land. Our land is locked. So we're not a free country still. America, after they kicked the British out and the Boston Tea Party and said, screw you, we don't want nothing to do with you, and then wrote their own constitution, the founding fathers committed high treason. High treason. They went against all of them went against their own went against England. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then at that time it was death by hanging, right?
That's right.
Nowadays, when a politician commits high treason against their country, they get a fine of $3,000.
Yeah.
So Canada's not free. When would Canada be free then?
I think Canada will be free after we see what happens down south.
You think
Maybe
so?
It'll take a couple of years. Yeah. I think what's going to happen is this is going to get really big. He's going to call martial law. We all know that. It's going to get outrageous down there, especially the ones that are against him. He's going to end up putting the military in control just to control the population. Because you got to remember, Mike, there's over 300 million in the States.
360 million or something.
Yeah, something like that. So he's going to end up controlling that once he has control. And then what's going to happen is he's going to go to the neighbors now. He's going to go between, he's going to go in. Once he has that power, think about it. He's going to stop the drugs coming in from Mexico right away. He's going to have control of that. And the next thing you know, Canada's going to be on a limb. They're going to be trying to find routes. They're going to try to make deals. And that's when we have to come bow to our knees and say, okay, America, you're in full force, so we are coming to you now. Because even though this trade came in, the farmers got screwed here, big time. And you know, they're the ones that feed everybody at the end of the day. So, you know, if there's any farmers out there, I'd love for them to call your channel and talk. And I want to hear their output, because I don't know too much of it, but just listening to economist or anybody out there that's actually understanding it. I only know a little piece of it, but it'd be interesting to see
get someone on.
Call your channel and just explain to us the difference between the trade from today, yesterday, and 25 years ago or 30 years ago, and see how we feel where we're going. Because I think this guy here that's in there, we all know he's a puppet. And all he's doing is he's bringing these migrants in, and he's trying to get votes. That's all they care about. The UN just want control of this country. Like you said, it's not a free country anymore. So all these people are coming in illegally. We don't know who they are. Oh, but, you know, they lost their passports in that. Listen, man, you lost your passport.
With a Gucci bag. With a Gucci bag.
Yeah. You go back.
Yeah, with a Gucci bag, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Versace shoes. Yes, I got you. Yeah. But besides that, Mike, I really thank you for calling me today, because I was just venting out. I get passionate about it, and it just bothers me that people are just blind. They just want to listen to the media for their own purpose or their own. And they could, like I said in that video, I just said it. People take the media and let it control their opinions, let them control their everyday life. They lose their soul, they lose their identity, and I wish people would just stop that. You want to listen to the news, listen to it, but don't let it take over you.
No. Media died. Rest in peace. November 22nd, 1963 was the day media died, in my opinion. Anyways, Mario, buddy, thanks for being on the show. I appreciate it. And
yes, thank you, brother, and you have a good Thanksgiving. God bless you and the family.
I'll try to get a farmer on the show, I promise.
Yes, I would love it. Okay. All right, brother.
Take care, bro.
Take care, man. Bye. Good night.
That's the Lost Canuck, people. And Moby, my man, wants to call in next because he's out east. It's getting late out east, New York time, Miami time. Let's give him a call here. And I got to call everyone out of Eastern Canada first, because there's no way they'll be online later. There's no way they'll be online later, because they'll be sleeping in the next 30 minutes. What time is it in New York? 8, 9, 9, 10, 11. It's midnight. Okay, let's get an update on Faith Goldy here, on what's going on. Let's get our man Moby on. Yo, who the hell is this?
I love that. I love that greeting. How you doing, Mike?
Good. Good. I'm so happy that you're on, guy. Mr. Moby. So tell us, buddy, do you have any updates on our girl Faith Goldy? What's happened to her? I saw her. She's suing I got her right here on video here. Her second last video that she's suing. I played it at the beginning of the show so people could know if they want to donate to her cause. Absolutely. Okay, tell us. Spill the beans.
So basically, in a nutshell, carry on with the conversation that we had last week. So once she found out that she was getting censored by Bell Media, I had a conversation with her about this before she decided to follow through. And basically, what I had suggested was she does one of two things: either A, she files a lawsuit, or B, she files a complaint with the CRTC. Right now, the CRTC basically governs all of the communication networks across Canada with respect to local elections. Right. And so essentially, what she did was she filed a lawsuit. Now, this isn't so she filed a lawsuit against Bell Media for, I guess, because she had a written contract with them, right? And basically, the contract stated that she would be able to run ads on their network across Toronto at CP24 at certain periods of time, right? And for whatever reason, either I don't know who made the decision. That's probably going to come out in the lawsuit. Either some executives or some higher ups decided that they wouldn't allow the ads to run, and then that poor guy on the phone had to make the call, right? So
yeah, he probably doesn't feel very popular right now.
Let's put it this way. Well, you saw the video before when she made the video with the recording and the guy on the phone, and Buddy just sounded like a robot. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry for the inconvenience. We're not going to be able to run the ads. We'll refund your money next week." And he just kept saying the same thing over and over and over and over again. And I'm like, that doesn't sound like a normal call.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So she's pointing the finger at John Tory. Is that true or what?
John Tory has extensive ties with Bell Media, not just Bell, but also Rogers as well. I don't think it's going to be John Tory directly. It may be indirectly, maybe towards one of her campaign or two of her campaign managers, two of his campaign managers.
Yeah.
Right. Who are involved in stopping Bell from airing these ads. Now, this isn't the first time that Bell Media Bell Media is also facing another lawsuit with respect to former PC leader Patrick Brown, right? As if you know, Patrick Brown was the former PC leader before Doug Ford.
Oh,
right? And so with the way the Ontario election climate was 6 months ago, the PC party could have elected a cat, and the cat would have been the premier right now, right?
Yeah.
So that's how much everybody hates the Liberals in the province, right? So that being said, Patrick Brown has filed a similar lawsuit with respect to Bell Media because they engaged in some very nefarious reporting to the extent where the former leader had his image tarnished, and then as a result of that, he had to step down. And because he had to step down, now he's not the premier anymore, or he would have been. But anyway, that's another story. But the point is, this isn't the first lawsuit of this kind, right?
Right.
The only difference now is that they're blatantly refusing to run Faith's ads. And it wasn't even, I don't know, did you see the text of the ad that they were going to run?
Mm-hmm. No, I didn't see the text.
Yeah, okay, you know what? You could probably Google it. It was something, it was very, oh, geez. It wasn't even that controversial or anything, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, of course it wasn't. I know it wasn't controversial. It was probably something very positive and for the people. But anything that anything that anyone far right, anyone that leans right, anything they say is considered appalling or racist.
Tell me about it. Let's put it this way: it's like they don't even, people who throw those terms out there, whether it's racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, whatever, Islamophobic, whatever. They don't really have a good leg to stand on because they don't back up their I guess they're term throwing by any logical or factual arguments, right? And that really, 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 really pisses me off. It really does.
Yeah, no. Because there's no logic behind it, bud.
Exactly. Tell me about it.
And if you know what? And if you're offended, it doesn't mean you're right.
Exactly. Just because that's true. That's true. And people can only take that so much until they say, you know what? Screw it. I'm not going to deal with this person.
Okay.
Right?
On the note.
Okay,
but I have something to add to that before you finish off. But on that note, now this is a very, very important question, okay? Is anybody or any country or any party or anybody going to trust any liberal party right now? Now, before let me just finish. Like, you see what's happening in Italy. You see what happened in Quebec. You see what's happening in Switzerland. You see what's happening in all these countries. Is anybody anymore going to trust a liberal party ever again?
In its current standing, no.
And what are we looking at we're going to be looking at 3 to 5 decades for it to anywhere from 2 to 4 decades to kind of let the generation die off and then rebuild again, right? Because I think the liberal parties to an extent, yes. I say that because people let's say for example my age, right? I'm just over 30 years old, right? I'm not going to forget what the Liberals did, say for example here in Ontario, right? And they've had a very, very bad record to the point where, let's say I get to maybe 20, 25, so maybe between 20 and 30 years from now, maybe they might have a shot, right? Because what's going to happen is the younger generation isn't going to remember, or they don't have the historical reference to go to, right? When they go to elect the Liberals again, because they haven't experienced what the Liberals were like before. Yeah.
Right?
So, like, basically, if the Republicans put in a cat, like you said earlier, they'll still win.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, that's how, and this is going to be what the political climate's going to be like for in Alberta for the NDP, right? Alberta only had to taste 4 years of it, of the NDP, before they're way hardcore conservative compared to we are on the East Coast, right? So, I mean, we had to go through 15 years of it before we were like, say, screw it, okay, enough is enough, right? And so typically in Ontario, things get a little bit to the extreme before a government gets kicked out. Now, usually, like I said, usually here it takes a lot longer. Now, I think the same thing in Toronto is going to happen on the mayoral side. I'll give you this little tidbit right here. You notice how they're not doing any new. If you're still following the news at all, in Toronto, they're not putting. typically, what they would do is every couple of days or so, they would put out a poll of how the candidates are doing and how high and how low their percentages and all that. I've been noticing for the past week, nobody has said anything. Like, news organizations have not said anything about any mayoral polls. And I'm like, why is that? So, okay, I go to my inside sources. So as of something like 10 days ago, or a little more than 10 days ago, so John Tory, who's the current mayor, was polling at 61% initially, right? And then Jennifer Keesmaat was down all the way to it was some paltry number like 24 or 25. 1 week later, the mayor drops 10 points, 10 from 61 to 51, and it's like, holy crap! Now I understand why they're not talking about it.
Yep.
And so Jennifer Keesmaat, who's the runner-up in this case, so she was the former city planner. She jumps up from 25 to I think like 30, 33 or 34 or something. Yeah. Right. Like, I mean, like obviously it's not enough to win, but it's a respectable jump, and a significant drop for the current mayor. And then there's Faith Goldy. So you remember before her stint at that first debate with the arts.
Yes.
With that arts debate.
Mm-hmm.
She was polling at 6%. 1 week later,
mm-hmm.
she goes somewhere between 11 and 12. So she's around 11 and a half.
That could put her at second place.
It could. However, actually, well, in third place if you're counting all three, right?
Okay.
So so she's still polling third, but the point is her polling numbers have almost doubled, right? Like that's significant.
Mm-hmm.
That's very significant. And you have to remember, look, she's still being censored. She's still being censored, right? And the strategy in Tory's campaign, at least from the Liberal side, because I remember I told you last week that you have a Liberal campaign manager and a Conservative campaign manager, where the Conservative campaign manager is doing a lot of the messaging for Tory's campaign, and the Liberal campaign manager is doing the strategy portion of the campaign, right? So they're taking care of the logistics and everything else like that. And their idea to get Tory to win is to not say anything, for him not to say anything. That's why they're canceling. Yeah, exactly.
They're canceling his. That's why they canceled the debate.
Yes.
Yeah, okay,
absolutely.
that makes sense. None of it made sense. It's like, why are they canceling this debate for? Because you know what? I think if you had a cat there and put a mustache on it and some suspenders, will look a lot better than John Tory.
Yep, absolutely. That is absolutely right. And so now, their idea of getting to victory in 2018 in a Toronto mayoral election is to shut everybody down and not have any debates whatsoever. Wow. And so some people, and I like following social media on this. Some people on Twitter were suggesting, if the mayor doesn't want to come to the debate, well, they should still host it. And then I threw a suggestion out there, and I'm like, well, okay, if we could have the second place polling person and the third place polling person, that would be Faith Goldy, to a one-on-one debate, that would be freaking awesome. Faith would just crush. She would crush Keesmaat. I mean, Keesmaat's more like a commie in terms of policy and planning. You have to remember, there's actually quite a few things that she has come out with that would seem appealing to people who are to the left of center, right? Like, I'll give you this one example, and you tell me what you think of this.
Okay.
So earlier this week, she came out with a policy of rent to own.
Yeah.
So obviously, I'm pretty sure, in a nutshell, you're familiar with what rent to own is and dealing with, say, either unsold condo units or townhomes or anything like that.
I've heard of rent to own, and we've covered it on the show quite a bit. The only problem we had with it is that it's a huge. A lot of it is a scam. A lot of it is they have ways to get you out of there quick in a heartbeat if they don't like you. So that's a problem. So
I know. I agree with you. I agree with you on that front. Now, I've actually I've been looking at some places to rent in the city just for fun, because I'm probably looking at making a move within the next probably 4 months or so. So I'm just looking around now, and here's something I'm finding very interesting. There have been some condo projects in Toronto that were completed like 5 or 6 years ago, and these units haven't been inhabited yet.
Yeah, a lot of them are foreignly owned.
5 years. I'm sorry, say
again. A lot of them are foreign investments. They're foreign owned. Yeah,
but I mean, but I mean, foreign investments. Like the condos are just sitting there.
Yes.
Like I know that there's this one development near just south of Yorkdale, right? Around I think it's Dufferin and Lawrence there.
Yeah.
And it's like 3 high-rise buildings. oh geez, I forget how many floors, probably like 35 or something. And yeah, they have like fresh, brand new units. Nobody's lived in them, but the project was done like 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wait a second, 7 years ago, and you mean nobody's lived in them?
Yeah. Moby. When I lived in Vancouver, I lived at Stadium. I lived right at Stadium, right across the street from where the Canucks played. Okay. And in the tower I lived in the tower, and the tower was connected to the mall. To a mall through the, if you go through the loading zone, you could get into the mall from the apartments. Okay. And here's the deal.
So you could get in direct access. Nice.
Yeah, that's where my store was. And let me tell you something, buddy.
Awesome.
Let me tell you something. You know how many people lived in my tower? I think it was it was quite a few units, buddy. I think it was 14 units to a floor, and I think there was 36 floors. Okay. You know how many people we actually had in house?
No, how much?
42.
Shut up.
Yeah.
I don't believe you when you say that.
You don't have to, because I saw the same 42 people every day on the elevator or on the passing by in the hallway, and yeah.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's absolutely insane.
And the one across the street had maybe 30% vacancy, but the rest was all foreign owned, foreign invested. It was all empty.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, like, in my.
Now, let me ask you. Okay. Yep.
No. I was just saying. Sometimes I would play soccer in the hallways on my floor because it was like 2 tenants on my floor.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Because I'm wondering now, because I know there's been some talks in other campaigns about how the heck to sort of open up the rental market, right? When you have something like 100,000 plus homes that are vacant.
126,000.
Right, 126,000, but you have a vacancy rate of 0.1%.
Right.
Or excuse me, less than 1%.
Right.
Right. So I mean, I know on Keesmat's campaign, they're talking about what they would call a luxury. Oh geez, I forget the wording. It was like
tax.
A home luxury
tax. Yeah.
It was like a home luxury tax or something like that.
They've done that in Vancouver. They've done that. They've done vacant. You know what they need? Go talk to Faith Goldy. She needs to promote a vacant home tax. They do it in Vancouver and it's working. They've raised millions of dollars already in Vancouver. You go tell her. There's this guy, Mike Martins. Yeah. He's saying they're doing a vacant home tax in Vancouver and it's working and they've raised money. And a lot of people are forced to sell their properties if they're going to pay a vacant home tax. And I think it's 1 or 2 or 3% of the property value per year.
Yeah. I've stated on the show previous that, or a few shows ago, that I would be in favor of such a measure. However, what this Keesmat person is proposing is what's called a luxury home tax. So, in a nutshell, any home that's valued over, I think it was something like 1.1 or 1.2 million, automatically gets this tax, right? But here's the problem. The problem we have is that a lot of these people who own these homes are seniors, right? They're either on pension or fixed income, or obviously their income is limited, right? Mm-hmm. And so a lot of these people, they're the ones who grew up here and who came here and who immigrated here like back in the 50s and 60s.
Pay their taxes, they invested in the infrastructure and paid their pension, sent their kids to school.
Yes, exactly. Right? And then over the last 40 years, their homes have appreciated, greatly, right? But implementing this new, and it was something, it wasn't even that big of a number. I think it was like 1 point something or 2% or whatever. I forget the exact number, but it would have led to, like, and depending on the value of your home, you're talking about anywhere ranging from an extra 2,000 to 10 or 15,000, depending on the valuation of your home, right? Paying to the city of Toronto every year. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at that, and I'm like, wait a second. Seniors couldn't possibly afford that. They just couldn't.
No.
without selling their homes. And there's some of these homes where, how would I say, okay, remember how I mentioned a few shows ago when I was talking about how younger people would inherit some of these homes because their parents would or grandparents would die off?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now that puts them in a worse situation too. Because I mean, like a lot of these people, they would own these homes free and clear, but now they have to pay this additional expense in addition to their property tax.
You know what I propose, Moby? That's not a fair tax.
Yeah.
I don't care if the house is $1 or $5 million, but if there's people living in the house, I don't care. I'm talking about the vacant, the 126,000 vacant properties in the general Toronto area. That needs to be tackled. That needs to be tackled. That's the problem.
I agree with you on that front. Yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
care. Okay, you know what? If people there's one guy living in that mansion, we won't tax him. But if it's empty and there's no cable going there, no water going there, no electricity hookup going there, guess what? The electricity company, the water company, they're losing money. They put these hookups in these homes, and no one's paying no one's paying to be there.
You think you could somehow enforce that by the use of utilities, right?
Yeah. So, like, I mean, there's got to be something, and this is protecting it's protecting the Ontarioan, the Torontoan, the Vancouver. Vacant home tax in Vancouver is working. I don't know how many millions it raised, but $20 or $38 million in its first run. So,
that's not too bad for homes that the city can prove are vacant, right?
Yeah, that's better than $0, right?
Yeah.
You know, so
that's true. It's not. Well, that's $38 million that they didn't get last year.
That's right.
Or the year before.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
You know,
I hear you on that front.
If you talk to Faith, you say, look, this guy Mike Martins, he's crazy. But you know what? He's been talking. He's been talking about housing for the last 7 years, and this vacant home tax is working in Vancouver. If she could actually, because the people that would vote her out against that tax can't even vote, or they're not even in Canada.
This is right.
You getting where I'm getting here? Come on, man.
I understand where that's going. That's going. Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So I think you should pass the message on to her.
Why not? Absolutely. Next time I see her, next time I message her, I'll definitely keep her in the loop on that.
Yeah, that's very important to let her know what the idea is, because a majority of the people that will vote against it either can't vote or won't even be in the country or don't even care.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, until the bill comes to the door, and yeah.
And then it's like, hey, wait a second. Well, I mean, look, this is why a lot of old people, they vote, right? I mean, because they get the bills every month, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, and they're just like, screw it, I'm not dealing with this nonsense.
Yep.
Right? I mean, one of the you're gonna love this one. So I think I've told you this before. I've been helping out a local candidate. What's this guy? He's Councillor Mamalidi. Nice guy if you get to know him in person. Mm-hmm. So he's running again in the expanded ward. What's called Humber River Black Creek. It's the one next door to mine. Mm-hmm. And so he's much like me. He's a right winger. Mm-hmm. Although I'll agree with pretty much almost everything he says. It's just sometimes the delivery of how
it is said.
The delivery of how he says things. So it's like, okay, fine, whatever, mm-hmm. Right? What I find interesting, and this is happening in a lot of parts throughout the city ever since they changed the riding boundaries, is that they have a lot of left-leaning candidates actually trying to go for the same position, and all they end up doing is splitting the vote. And you'll actually see this on election night on October 22nd, after the votes are counted. You're going to see some surprises in Toronto as to who wins and where, mm-hmm. Right? I mean, especially in Etobicoke is going to be pretty much all conservative, no problem there. North York is going to be a bit of a split. Scarborough is going to be interesting. Downtown Toronto is going to be fun to watch.
It's going to be mainly conservative. It's going to be mainly conservative. And can I tell you why? Because a majority, and I thought about this today, and it makes a lot of sense. A majority of the liberal vote was the Portuguese vote, and a lot of people don't. A lot of people, the younger people generation now, don't know that there's just under 800,000 Portuguese living in the province of Ontario. And
is that right?
Oh, there's a lot of Portuguese. And after that whole, a lot of them were classic liberals. And I brought this up. I was a classic liberal like 20 years ago. I was a classic liberal. My family were classic liberals. But these new liberals, this is nothing like it was. It wasn't like do you know what I'm saying? It was nothing back in the day.
Like this new age sort of,
mushy feelings.
Like left-leaning hardcore. Yeah.
Mushy feelings. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we're gonna have to cut it short. Well, we're at an hour now. Any last words you want to tell us before I have you on next time's show?
You know what? I'm gonna keep.
Sorry.
So far as the election's coming within 2 weeks, it's going to be a very, very exciting 2 weeks. I mean, we're seeing pressure that's being built up in different parts of the city.
You know what we're gonna do?
We're now seeing
I'm gonna try and have you on. I'm gonna try and have you on live when I'll have the thing on live streaming here, and then maybe I'll have you on the show at the same time while we're streaming it live here on my side here, so people could see what's happening and we could talk over them while they're talking. You know what I'm saying?
That would be interesting. Yeah, sure. Why not?
We'll watch the exact same stream together. You'll watch it on your side. I'll watch it on my side. We'll both lower the volume, and we'll just talk about what the polls are showing and what areas are coming up and down and what areas we should be looking at and what kind of how it's factoring the areas.
The vote, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, basically, like provide our own commentary on the city election. Yeah, I'd love to do something like that, for sure.
You know what the funny thing is? The video, the live stream won't get flagged. Do you know why?
Why is that?
It's because my ugly face is on the top left corner. So
of course. Sorry.
It's a different. So the image doesn't match. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. There you go. There you go.
So,
okay, that's understandable. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, let me get Steve the plumber on. He wants to go to sleep.
All right, I'm definitely looking forward to his commentary.
Okay, thanks, brother. Bye.
All right, take care. Bye now.
Bye. So that's my man Moby, and Steve the plumber. Come on, call in right now, buddy. I know you want to go to sleep. So he said he won't be a good addition to the show. I think he's going to bed. Yeah, I won't be a good addition to the Rex Cohen. I won't be a good addition. What do you say here? I won't be a good addition to your show tonight. Sorry, bud. Exhausted. That's okay. He's tired. Let's not bother him. He's super tired. Super duper tired. Okay, let's do this. Let's call Rex Cohen. Okay, guys, we need to talk to Rex Cohen because Rex Cohen is trying to sell his house in Vancouver, and we need to know if he's got offers on it or what the hell is going on. So let's get Rex Cohen on the phone.
Hello?
Who the hell is this?
This is Rex Rowan.
Rex Cohen, buddy. How are you? You're live.
Hey, how's it going today, Mike?
It's going good, buddy. Listen, I need to ask you, what's going on with the house? Do you have offers? Is it sold?
Okay, well, we had another offer. We were on the second offer, and the financing collapsed. So we got a third offer on the go now. It's about a little bit less, and I just got to fix up the place tomorrow, and I'm heading back to Vancouver tomorrow and fixing it up, and then hopefully it passes the inspection. Find out on Wednesday.
Okay, so you're pushing it out. So do you think the property is going to sell soon, or what? Or is it a buyer's market, or is it a seller's market? What's going on in Vancouver?
Well, I'm thinking that the house. Well, what I heard is the bond market's gone up. Right, it's at 3.2%, and when the bond market, and that's the highest it's been since 2011. So we'll probably see the interest rate go up by 1% next year, and that's gonna dock everybody. So we're looking at maybe another, if your mortgage is $1,500 or $1,600, you're looking at next year mortgage will be $2,500 or $2,600. So, next year will be definitely people will be looking to sell. There will be better deals. Right now, where I'm at, it's like a push and pull. Everything's even right now. If your house is priced fair, you should sell it. Fair means a little lower than last year by a couple $100,000. Yeah. So, okay. But next year, and then what I'm thinking is about 2 years down the road is that in downtown Vancouver you have all these condos up for sale. And there's a lot of condos there, right, Mike? You live there yourself, above Tinseltown, right next to me.
It's Condo City.
Yeah, it's Condo City, and a lot of cities want to copy Vancouver now. Like Vancouver, the downtown Vancouver, the residential condos are right there and quite popular. But what's going to happen in about 2 or 3 years is like all these people that live in these condos, their mortgage is going to be up at the same time.
Someone's asking a question in the comments. How much, Rex? How much are you asking for your house right now?
1.2.
1.2 million.
That's my ask, but the offer's not at 1.2. It's at like 1.15.
Okay.
1.16.
1.16. Okay. So hopefully the financing could go through and you could unload that baby. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I just want to unload. Well, I want to get back to the other point. In 2 years, you're going to see a lot of these people that are fixed rate mortgages, like these condos. They're all going to go renew at the same time. When they all go renew at the same time, they're going to find out that the mortgage payment is going to be another $1,000 per month. Like I was saying, in about 2 or 3 years, somebody that's at $1,600 is now going to be at $2,600. So you're going to see a lot of people trying to unload at the same time. And when you're in a condo, it's like there's 10 condos per floor, and you're talking about 30 floors, and you're talking about multiple condos. When everyone's trying to unload at the same time, that's when it's going to burst. I'm talking about you'll see an impact. You'll see a slight impact next year, but in 2 years, when everyone's going to renew at the same time, 2 or 3 years, that's when it's going to burst big time.
Question. I need to ask you. Let's go. Let's start off with gas. I got the articles open. Is gas going to go up or down?
Gas, I think it's gonna. I think Saudi Arabia and Russia, I think they've increased their output, or they're working on some kind of deal. Alberta's in trouble. You're not going to see this oil sands or anything like that developed. Any of those sites developed, and gas. In terms of the LNG up coast in Kitimat, it's just in principle. The deal that was announced is just in principle. That everything's approved just in principle by the major investors.
Right.
But whether it's being developed or not, that's another story.
Okay.
So that probably may not be developed. I'm thinking it's just approved in principle by the investors, the big investors like the one from Malaysia and I think another. But gas, I think it's going to stay at its current levels, maybe go up slightly, but it's definitely not going to come down.
Okay. And where do you see, do you know from the insider, being an insider, do you know any, I got a lot of articles here from everywhere, and a lot of places are already warning and letting their customers know that major grocery chains set to increase food prices.
Yes. I heard that too. And basically, food prices are going to go up. They've already started to go up a little bit. And that's going to cause another impact to the citizens. And I don't know much about the food supply, but I do know it definitely is going to go up. what they're trying to do to offset the rise of costs is they're trying to get GMO produced food now. And what happens is you can produce GMO produced food en masse, but there's some countries like Russia that outright ban GMO foods because it's actually some studies have said that it's not healthy. And what it's doing is that these GMO foods, you eat them, they're not as nutritious as the natural foods, obviously, but also they're having an impact on our ecosystem.
Well,
because the bees aren't able to pollinate and things like that.
You know what? The problem is the chicken, because it's so hormone fed and all that crap. Chicken tastes like wet toilet paper. Like the beef tastes like cardboard. It's like there's either my taste buds are getting old or my taste buds don't taste anymore. But I don't know what it is. But when I go to Mexico, the meat tastes like meat. When I go to Thailand,
I'll give you the thing. Take a strawberry from a local grocer here. It's like so big. You cut it down the middle, cut it in half, open it. It's basically white. It's like you'll see the outer ring is red, slightly red, but everything is white. Now take a strawberry that's grown in your backyard.
Oh man!
It's more than half. It's less than half the size.
Yeah.
But you cut it down the middle, and it's all red when you open it up.
It's juice. Oh man, the strawberries I picked out of my backyard this summer. My kids got their little baskets out, and they were strawberry picking. Oh my goodness, I could eat those by the handful. Oh my god.
Yeah. So that's how they're trying to offset the cost with GMO produced. But believe me, it's destroying the ecosystem. And once you plant some GMO seeds, they're so dominant. Other plants can't grow around them. It destroys the soil, and then it's going to have a major impact in the future. And what's going to happen is that also at the end is going to probably increase the cost of food in about another 20, 30 years. There'll be another increase in cost because they'll have to produce different types of GMO strains of that same crop because something happened, like it killed off a lot of the nutrients in the soil, or it doesn't grow properly anymore.
Okay.
But getting back to the color market, I'm just saying that in about 2 or 3 years, everyone en masse, when they're about to renew, right? That's when everyone's going to sell because they'll find out the cost is too high. And when that happens, the cost is going to go down fast. But then, our government in the West here, Canada especially, is they don't want no one to go broke because like when everyone tries to sell, you're going to have like a Great Depression, like what we had in the 20s. And what happened in the Great Depression scenario, people can't even feed their families. The government probably won't even be able to pay welfare to people if that happens. So then what's going to happen, they're going to do another injection of another quantitative easing, more helicopter money, and then that's when you're going to have hyperinflation. Then prices will probably go through the roof again. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. So you're gonna have a depression. The economy is gonna start to bust in about 2 or 3 years, and then that's gonna follow by another measure of quantitative easing because the government's gonna panic. They don't want another Great Depression in the 20s. It was a horrible time. I heard. You look at the history; it was a horrible time. People couldn't even feed their children. People were looking for jobs. There was lineups for jobs outside of factories. Well, 70 people looking for jobs, and only one person can get it. And
they were making 1/10 the wage, and they took it still.
Yeah, and if you watch that movie with Russell Crowe, Cinderella Man, that's a good, it highlights some of what happened during the Great Depression, and that's what's going to happen. That would happen here, but the government won't allow it. So you're going to have a bust, followed by more quantitative easing, and then prices will probably end up going higher. And that's going to push a bigger gap between the rich and the poor, between the haves, the landlords, and the tenants. And and this will continue. And obviously, there could be another revolution if the society is awake. But the society usually is so dumbed down now with all these the drugs, antidepressants, distractions and stuff. the destruction of the alpha male, which is another topic we should discuss one day. The government wants more beta males in society, so they are not able to have an uprising. They aren't able to unite. And then, the division of identity politics, we're not united. That keeps us dumbed down, right? And then without no unity, we can never fight for the basic rights such as housing and food.
It's bad. And speaking of dumbed down, I have an article here opened by Local 12. Man crashes car and abandons his child. That's what's dumbed down. That is what's happening.
Yeah.
Like this is what's happening nowadays. I don't even know what to say. Okay, listen, before I kick you off the show, I want to ask you one question. Are you happy that Gavinoff got voted in?
Yeah, I'm not like excited or anything like having a celebration, but looking at it from an objective point of view, right? And looking at the FBI report, the FBI did its job, due diligence. Democracy voted him in, and I have no objection when democracy is working, and and our elected officials voted him in. I don't have a problem.
Of course.
Nothing illegal happened.
That's right. That's what.
If he raped somebody or did whatever sexual assault, right? I'm sure he would not be there.
That's right.
So that's all I gotta say.
And you know what the funny part is? How democracy works. If the party that you don't vote in nowadays gets into power, it's a riot on the streets.
Yeah, what's happening now is you're going to have a conservative Supreme Court for a generation, and a lot of things might get overturned, like the Roe versus Wade, some other abortion and things like that, and it's going to take another generation to have a more of a liberal Supreme Court, but right now it's going to be conservative for a generation, and I think I heard there's going to be another retiree in the Supreme Court, and Trump might be able to pick another appointee to the Supreme Court. It's rarely a president can pick just one person to the Supreme Court. Trump gets to pick two, and that this is going to impact the United States. It is going to go back to conservative, and it's happening now. And what I don't like all about this is, why is Hollywood trying to get a piece of this action?
Hollywood people in Hollywood are paid to entertain us, not to weigh in on political agendas which they know nothing about.
No, they don't know nothing. Robert De Niro and all these guys. If you got something to say, then why don't you go run for office, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you step up and make the change, right? Otherwise, if you want to. Just do something about it. That's all I gotta say. If they're so pissed off that Kavanaugh's now in the Supreme Court, then do something about it, Hollywood. Stop opening your mouth and causing a division in society. Go run for office. Be a man. Be a woman, and start doing something about it.
Yeah.
Be a human being.
Well, what about
be a leader?
Yeah, but what about that whole The View? What's that View thing? The View show where
that's terrible. I hate that show.
That's the worst thing to ever air. Luckily, only old people have cable now. So I
hate The View. I can't stand watching The View.
That is the worst programming in historical human history.
Another show I hate watching is the Rosie O'Donnell. Back in the days of Rosie, I hate listening to Rosie O'Donnell open her mouth.
No, you're not. Not Rosie O'Donnell. You're talking about not Rosie O'Donnell. No, you're talking about the other one. I know who you're talking about. Trump called her an animal. What's her name? It's not Roseanne Barr.
Rosie O'Donnell.
Rosie O'Donnell. Yeah, that's right. Where Trump called her Rosie's an animal. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I can't. Like, who is this lady? Even her own daughter's against her.
Yeah. It's just so that's what we're seeing. We're living in interesting times, and it's good that there's shows like this where we can come and talk freely, and the democracy is working. I think people are talking about meaningful things. We're not talking about the Vancouver Canucks, and I love the Canucks and all that. But it's important to talk about what's happening in government, what's happening to our country, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very important, and I'm glad that that there's more and more people now. Whether you're on the left or the right, that more people are starting to pay attention. And that's great, because when you're starting to pay attention, you're involved.
Anyways, I got a question for you, and somebody in the comments has a question for me, but I want to see if you could answer it.
Okay.
Says, I need to pay off my student loans. How should I pay it off? I have enough savings, but I can't save towards a down payment. So what does he do? Put it towards the down payment? I think right now is the bad time. I think it's the worst time to buy anything right now.
If I had a student loan right now, let's see. If I had a student loan, let's say my student loan is $30,000, or can I put that $30,000 into a property? Let's see what I would do. And I had a job. What would I do? Right now, properties are going to go down, right?
Yeah.
If it's an income-generating property, I'm not sure where he lives. He could be living in an affordable city.
Okay.
Then I would just...
Yeah, let's make it simple. If it's an income-generating property, then yes. But if it's not, then pay off your student loans, so then you could save more money later.
Yes, that's what I would do.
Yeah, because you're paying interest, right? So you're always paying, right? You're paying this blended rate. So if you could get that down and get the student loan out of the way, then that's one less debt, and that's more disposable income.
Yeah, I would be looking at an income-generating property, a place with a basement suite or something that you could rent out within your place, an extra bedroom or something.
Yeah, or rent out tents in your backyard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to be going hunting between November. I'm not going to go hunting. I'm just going to be riding with some boys that are going hunting.
Yeah.
But they're going for moose, 2 points or less, here in the Merritt area. Between November 1st and 10th, or 15th. I think that's what the regulations say. So I'll let you know how that goes as well. I love that, hunting and fishing. That's the old school way to do things. A lot of people are upset in society. Say, why do people go hunting? Hey, why not?
Yeah, I know. I hear you.
That's another very liberal thing on the left. They're really against that kind of stuff, right? They start looking down. You just go to an office at work. Yeah, I go hunting. In the last 10 years or 15, 20 years, they would look down on that. But be proud if you love that kind of stuff, right? It's better to go hunting than buy food at the grocery store than Safeway.
Yeah. No,
I got to head out now. I got to put my kids to sleep, but it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, do your thing. We'll keep in touch. Let me know what happens with your hunting trip, okay?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, have a good one.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Have a good night.
Okay, I'm on the phone and Skype is going off. Hello, you're live.
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, hi, Mike. How's it going?
It's going. Is this Anthony?
Yes, I'm a real estate appraiser in Michigan. I last talked to you around Christmas.
Oh my God, how's it going? So guys, this gentleman that I'm on Skype with just randomly called me. So he's not pre-prepped. We're just gonna talk. So he's gonna tell us what's going on. Okay, brother, what's going on?
Okay, well, me and you predicted a lot of things when I talked to you in December. We said Bitcoin was a scam, and that's proven to be true.
Mm-hmm.
And then the housing market. In the United States, I noticed that home builders, the whole stock sector is in a bear market since the start of the year. And then just watching trade with Canada, I'm not a political person. I never trusted Obama or Trump as far as patriotism and things like that. I always saw the globalism embedded in both of them. And I just think trade is an example of that because we have both sides raising taxes and really no one asking questions. We just want to take a side, like, oh, I like this prime minister, I like this president, but we're not looking at the fact that just taxes are going up and it's hobbling the industry. So I think it's putting Canada in a terrible situation also. What do you think?
Well, I want to tell you one thing that a lot of Canadians don't know, and is that the whole dairy thing that we had, the whole dairy issue, a lot of Canadians don't understand that Wisconsin produces more dairy than all of Canada put together. And a lot of people are forgetting that how big of a powerhouse economically the U.S. is, right? But
Oh, yes.
yeah, but you do have safe havens, and I'm not talking about safe cities or that crap. I'm talking about you got states like Rhode Island, you got Oregon, you got other states that are tax-free and that are still work-free states, okay? And unlike Canada, there's no way out for us. There's no other city we could run to that's different or that's more conservative, well, it would be more conservative on paper, but the law is across the board. So for us in Canada, it's really tough for us to escape a certain way of life, where in the United States, you have so many different states. If you're a liberal, hey, move to California. If you want to, you guys are so lucky to have that divide in a way where there's so much options, right? We don't have that here in Canada. We don't have that in Canada. And that's a huge problem.
Didn't people run away to Alberta if they wanted conservatism?
Nope, because the problem now with that, Alberta's in the pits right now because we had, what's her name on the show? She did a segment for us, Working on It was on the show, and she was talking about Edmonton. How Edmonton and Calgary are completely in the pits, and I think they just lost 10,000 full-time, very important jobs, like welders and important keys to our society have lost their jobs.
Right, and just about the conservative liberal argument in the United States, to me today it seems like it's like an asinine argument between sides that want to talk about gender and things, and I think the economics are more important because we now supposedly have a conservative president that is putting in Marxist tariffs and ruining industries. They can have these CEOs on TV that might have voted Republican in the past and probably vote for him, and they're saying how it's just, oh, by the way, we used to make millions, now we make nothing. We're located 20 miles from Canada, and now supposedly there's this trade barrier. And then with China too, a ton of right-wing business owners that are millionaires are the first to lose because of this Chinese trade war, which could be twisted as patriotism, but I just don't trust the Jared Kushner government, because that's who our real president is now, is Jared Kushner, that when they raise taxes, it's for some patriotic duty. It just seems like a joke. A joke like that, like that speech against Iran at the UN. I don't want a war with Iran.
No. Did you see my video about Iran? We don't want to go to war with Iran. Nobody wants to go to war with Iran.
Especially in Detroit, I got more Iranians living on my street than anyone. Why would I want to start a war with their country? It makes no sense.
Right, and it never made sense because it was the destabilization. It started in the early 70s with the destabilization. It kicked off in the early 70s with the destabilization of the Portuguese Empire when it fell in Africa, because the Portuguese refused to join the World Bank, and the Portuguese refused to play along with America, and that's why Portugal was poor for a long time, was because they were sanctioned to death by Western countries because they refused to play ball, right? And they already knew, Salazar knew that if Portugal joined the world banking system, that Portugal would forever indebt itself and its people. And and then it started with that. Then it went over to Iraq, and then it went over to Afghanistan. Then it went back to Iraq, and then it went to Libya. Then it went to the divide of so many African countries and arming both sides. It's just an absolute nightmare.
Oh yes. And then in Brazil, we have both sides divided too. Again, it's like they want a civil war there.
Today, I've been watching it today. I've been watching it on the global news in Brazil. I've been watching it live, directly from the streets there and protesters and what's going on. It's this divide that they're creating. But it all starts in our minds. The division is created in our minds, and I think we are segregated in our minds. What do you think?
Oh yeah, and we're manipulated by the media that everyone has to take a side. It's a sad day in Brazil because they could have recovered from all the corruption of Lula and this and thing, but instead they just want to run to other violent figures. I mean, this Bolsonaro, very violent. He traveled to Israel several times and said, "I'm going to stamp out the criminals in my country like you do the Palestinians." So yeah, we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, unfortunately. Brazil is headed down a path of destruction. I've been following closely.
Argentina too. So it's a multi-country contagion in Latin America.
Well,
and
Argentina's
the
a lot
fascinating thing.
The currency's crashing, and have to forcibly raise rates, and this is putting a bind on small businesses, and they have to lay people off because now the cost of borrowing for their business has gone up, and then now that's creating a ripple effect. Raise interest rates, great.
Yes.
But businesses the small businesses take the heat, and they got to lay people off. Go ahead.
And my hobby is the big short. What am I going to short to make money off this? And Argentina's on my list, as well as U.S. home builders and Canadian financials too. And then just the thing with Argentina, it was pure corruption during Cristina. I know that. And I know the Pope hugged her and they were friends. And it's also pure corruption during Macri, because what he does is he tells the world Argentina is suddenly a great investment, when it's the same scumbag governors ripping the place off left and right, with no control on that. So it was a fascinating manipulation by Wall Street to create this false boom in Argentina over the past year. It coincided with the boom by Trump. It's the same lie in the hemisphere of, I've got a businessman president now, and he's going to make everything okay, single-handedly. Mm-hmm. It's like, nope.
Well,
so it's all everything at the same time.
I know where you sit politically on you're just a sideliner. You're sidelining. You don't care who says what or what does what. You just want the right thing done, period. You know what I...
Oh yeah.
You're a sideliner. You don't care. Like me, to be really honest with you, I don't care who governs me. I just don't want problems coming to my door. You know what I mean?
Oh, right. Yeah, and every side seems to be inviting that lately. But that's the biggest news story I find interesting now, is the complete breakdown of Argentina, Brazil, and then also have you watched U.S. stocks?
Oh, yes, I do. I just watched the weighted averages on some of the things. I kind of forecasted it. I trended out a bit just to see how Canada fits in, because I only trade right now on the Toronto Stock Exchange. I pulled out all my China stocks like a year and a half ago when the time was right. And then I sold some of my Japanese stocks in the Nikkei. And then now I'm only investing right now in the Toronto Stock Exchange. I'm just heavily invested in marijuana right now. But I've been invested in marijuana for 5 years now, so.
Okay, and you've never been interested in shorting? I mean, based on what the Lost Canuck would talk about, is like this total breakdown of the whole Canadian financial system.
Yeah, I've short. Yeah, of course. I've laid. I used to day trade like 15 years ago, and I did okay. I laid my puts and shorts and whatever I had to do, but I wasn't too good at it because my timing was always off, and it's like more like gambling. Now I'm just more kind of investing, and then because I'm 40 years old, right? And in 10 years I'm going to switch out from where I am, and then I'm going to start investing in equity stocks that pay out good equity, because I'm still 40. I'm going to stick with the stocks I have and what I'm doing and growing and selling them when they reach a certain percentage, or selling half of them and then reinvesting. I'm putting a bit in oil now because I think oil's going to spike with the tensions, the oil tensions we have right now. So. Right,
and with the oil thing, I mean, you got to pick winners. Some are like loser companies, like Pampa Energy in Argentina, and something in Spain too, like Repsol. It's like they put idiots in charge to just pilfer the company. And my strategy for oil is shorting airlines, because they lose big time when you have first a recession and then oil goes up. So it'll be a fun ride down with that. And then like Carnival Cruises, some things to look at, but. I guess I'll leave you with that to like the next caller, but yeah, I think we're on the precipice of a major bear market in the U.S. and a recession that would not help the Toronto. It wouldn't help the Ontario economy if the U.S. also follows it in a recession. Yeah. I
want to ask you one question, please, if that's okay. What do you think of my theory that international pressures, are going to push the price of oil up, thus also raising interest rates? Housing will collapse, and then bond market will shoot up just a bit. Bond market in the 10-year will go up, and then the devaluation of the yuan will start kicking in, and then they're going to have to start purchasing oil and petrodollars. What do you do you think that China is going to stand for that? To see their devaluating of their currency? Because if their currency devalues, they're screwed. Big time. And I think I'd prefer Trump to go with a trade war with China than go with a real war with China. Because 100 years ago, a lot of the crimes that China's doing would have resulted in war, right? 100 years ago. But
right, and China is collapsing. It's financially. And,
because remember, China's the number one consuming country, energy, right? What's going to happen when they have to purchase energy on a devaluating yuan?
Oh, it'll be bad news for their economy, is what you're saying. Yeah, I agree. And then bad news for all the money we thought would keep coming to Vancouver to buy houses, things like that. You see, it'll recede in Sydney, Australia, and stuff too. We'll be wishing the Chinese were still there buying. And then it's all going to be at the same time, you know. And then comes the anarchy in Argentina because they were always hinged on, and in Brazil too, because they were always hinged on the China bull story.
Yeah.
And then, so just the past 2017, I'd say, was the year of the bubble when Trump would tweet every week, "We need to stay invested." It's things like that, these bullish comments. It's part of a scam. And I remember last Christmas you said, we're going to blame this on Trump's patriotism. We're going to blame it on him. But Peter Schiff pointed this one out. It's like, well, why does Trump keep taking the credit for the economy? Doesn't he have analysts around him that see this?
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Do you believe, are you all for bringing jobs back to America?
Oh, I think it's a hoax. I think it's a joke. And it's just a way to rip us off with higher taxes. And the best way to do it is to promise everyone a job by doing it. Because if you create a global recession, and I see it on the border here with Canada, I'm like 15 miles away from Canada. Why would I want him to punish my neighbor like that? Yeah. You know, my great-grandparents were from this country. It's silliness. And why is this person from Wall Street getting in between me and a border that's 15 miles away? This person who supported the Clintons, like I said, and everything they've done until it came time for this bozo election. But, yeah, so bringing jobs home, that is something that is debatable. It doesn't really hold up in any university setting, and it's not because we're all indoctrinated with left-wing ideology, because it is quite a left-wing ideology to say raising taxes on businesses is going to make jobs. It's very Marxist. And that's not how America works, where we all get in line and take it on the chin by a government that wants to raise tax on us. Did you see the Michigan industries complaining about the tariffs?
No, I actually haven't. Yeah, tell us what's going on.
Well, you can Google this one, and it's shown on Fox Business too. And Fox Business has been very critical of this, saying if Obama did this, we would have a riot. But because we're labeling this as nationalism, we'll let the trade barriers go up. But the aluminum tariff still stands, and that's the biggest thing about the Canada trade war, is that it doesn't matter if you're on the Freeland side or the Trudeau side. We're ignoring that the aluminum tariffs stay in place. So what does that mean? American businesses pay 25% more for their aluminum, and Canadian businesses have that 25% ripped out of their business, whether they're getting it out of Quebec, Ontario, or what. So it's just government getting in the way, punishing business. So that whole deal they all celebrated was kind of delusional, I thought.
Hey, what do you think of? Slightly off topic. You know, I own a tabletop game store, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know that there's a 10% tariff on my business, trading playing cards?
Who's putting it on?
Well, it's already up. Canada-U.S. trade war talking about toll in unexpected places, and this is exactly how I'm getting hit by it myself too. And we've been hit. All the suppliers called me a few months back, so now they're talking right now. I have the video up. How we are getting hit 10% on playing cards.
Okay, and who's charging it? Is it done through the Canadian side on your transactions?
It's a Trump. They call it the Trump bump. It's on the Canadian side. So it's an import tax that we are paying on our side 10% more. So what's happened now? It's affected me. So because my prices are my margins are razor thin anyways. I will just raise my prices. It's fine. But some of the other retail stores that really need, that are in malls and stuff in bigger cities, they're gonna have a really tough time with a 10% bump.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's affecting me here too in my industry.
And that's just the thing. Politically, we're letting this happen because we're all focused on who touched who in high school.
Yeah, 100 years ago, this guy did this. I know.
Right.
Yeah, so...
He's a saint. He's a demon. Let's just talk about that for 6 months and then completely ignore the economy.
Yeah.
Or the increase of taxes, yeah.
And
then it just makes us like any other bureaucracy, like Europe and Italy or something. We just get taxed every minute.
Okay, can you see? I'm gonna give you one quick scenario, and let me know what you think.
Okay.
China gets tariffs 25 points. Okay, they get tariffs at 25%.
Yeah.
Walmart CEOs do not eat up to 25%, and they pass the bump to its consumers, and Walmart start charging hefty prices on everything and blaming China. Do you see that happening?
Blaming China,
or the tariffs,
Trump.
the taxes, or whatever you want to call it, because they're going to have to blame this bump on somebody. Because 25%, because everything comes from China, and 25%, I think 1 out of 2 things in the world is made in China. So who are we going to blame for? Would you see an increase in product pricing because of this? And if so, who's going to eat it? The CEOs and the owners of the company, or is it going to be the consumer?
Across the board, and that's why you could see a bear market in a lot of industries. And auto is complaining a lot about the supply chain, about tariffs, also about aluminum. So yeah, it's hard to say who takes the full blame, but it'll be continued debate. Yeah.
Because that's a big problem. Because that's a huge problem. Because everything we buy from Walmart, for example, if it goes up 25%, and the CEOs and the owners and the people up top at Walmart don't care, because it's a tariff and it's not their fault that they're paying more tariffs, right? So, who takes what happens? Because I think a lot of people will stop shopping if they're going to have to pay an extra 25% on anything.
Oh, well, they'll buy less. It's things we need, though. We need plastics to keep our food clean, like just stuff, everything. It's stuff we need. It's necessities, and that's why it's dirty. It's dirty business. We have a bankrupt U.S. government, a bankrupt Ontario government. We know this, but then what are these bankrupt governments doing? They're raising taxes by disguising it as patriotism. As long as we believe it's this BS about leveling the playing field and making us freer and bringing jobs home, we'll just let them, I guess, rip us off with taxes left and right, because Democrats have not opposed Trump on this BS trade war because they're all in bed together. They oppose each other on Kavanaugh. Stupid Irishman.
So you see it more like WWF wrestling, where they're in the back room and they're talking to each other and they're all friends, and then they go out on stage, they're all enemies.
It's been proven several times.
Yeah.
Trump and Clinton are friends with the same pedophile. Yeah. And then we fight about who's the bigger pedophile. I refuse to. I have no time for that argument.
Yeah. Well, it's nonsense. It gets you nowhere, and it doesn't help us as a human race.
Yeah. I'd just rather take a trip to Portugal, go to the beach, and short some stocks and do what I got to do for business. But I guess I'll let you have another caller now, and we'll hear more interesting things, I guess.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on the show, and thanks for calling me last second here.
Yeah, I look forward to calling in a few months, and we'll get an update on the markets in Brazil, Argentina, this and that.
Yeah, we'll keep our finger on the pulse with that too.
Right.
Thanks. Good night. So that's our man from downtown Detroit, Michigan, giving us a lowdown on what is happening on the ground there. So let's take a look at this really quick, guys. This is actually affecting me, and it doesn't affect me that much because I don't order millions of dollars in product, but let's see what they say here.
The combatants here at the Wizard's Tower have vanquished many foes over the years, but a new threat is emerging to the south that no spell can contain.
Yes, I'm a great financial wizard.
That's right. This gaming and hobby shop is on the front line of the Canada-U.S. trade war. The casualty? These Magic the Gathering cards, a hot item among gamers.
This is about 90% of our business. This is our bread and butter. This is the most popular product we sell.
Dave Tellier and his 15 employees are collateral damage in Donald Trump's trade war. After Trump slapped tariffs on steel and aluminum, Trudeau slapped back with tariffs on a range of items that included playing cards. The target was normal playing cards made in Trump-supporting states like Kentucky and Ohio. But under import rules, all playing cards are the same. So the magic cards made in the Democrat voting, marijuana legalizing Washington state got hit too.
So like, for example, a deck like this used to be $13 last week, and it's $14.99 this week.
It's a similar story on a larger scale at Tremcar, which makes giant aluminum trailers that cost about $80,000 a pop. The counter tariffs are hammering their bottom line.
On our industry, it's a big effect. We're talking about $2,000 per trailer.
The aluminum is refined in Quebec, but it's turned into aluminum sheets in the U.S. and then shipped back across the border to be turned into tanks, which means this Canadian company is being hit by Canadian tariffs meant to punish Americans.
We could increase the price, but there is a limit too, because we cannot sell our trailer more than our competitor.
It's not just big aluminum tanks, it's small aluminum cans. Ottawa beer makers are warning the tariffs are reducing their supply of cans. Canned foods are going to cost more, not because of what's in the can, but because of the can itself. And so is a can of pop, meaning these gamers will pay more for their fuel as well as their fun. So should the government of Canada stand up to Donald Trump even if it's going to cost you money?
He's a bully. We need to stand up. Otherwise, if we give in to concessions, he'll just ask more.
It's a game of Dungeons and Donald, but in this case, the stakes are no fantasy. David Cochran, CBC News, Ottawa.
I think the guy working at the store needs to understand that tax was put in by Trudeau. So, yeah, this is a Canadian problem. They didn't have to tax the playing cards. I don't know why, of all things, they had to tax the playing cards. Okay, guys, let's move on to another caller, guys. We need to talk to let's see if our girl in New Zealand is available. I need to ask her what the heck is going on down there. So that's a really good caller there from downtown Detroit. Downtown Detroit. Yep. I'm going to go visit that guy. I'm going to wear a nice suit, tuxedo, go to downtown Detroit. I miss going down to Detroit, guys. So Evan, our truth analyst, Evan can't be on the show. He's got to go. She was, okay, let's see if our girl Brooke's available on the ground.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going? It's Mike here. How are you?
I'm good, man. How you going?
I'm doing phenomenal. I like the video you put up on your channel. You're live right now, by the way. And
hello, everyone.
yes. Do you have time to speak, or are you in the middle of eating or something, or?
No, man. No, I've got time to speak.
Oh, perfect. I guess the time difference is so different from us. You're a day ahead, and you guys could be having... is it Thanksgiving there today in New Zealand?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay. Because tomorrow's Thanksgiving here. So, okay.
Oh, is it? Yeah, cool.
Okay, so I have an art. Okay, let's start very basic here. Gas prices. What are gas prices right now in New Zealand per liter?
Roughly $2.60 at the moment.
Wow. So that's about $2. Wow, that's expensive.
Yeah, and I just read an article about half an hour ago saying that residents should be expecting those to go up, which is, at least they warned us this time, you know.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. And grocery chains here are already speaking that they are set to increase food prices. Are you guys feeling that there?
Yeah.
Has food gone up majorly in the last 6 months?
Yeah. Especially dairy's gone up quite a lot. Vegetables have gone up heaps. Like we have kumara here. I think you guys call it sweet potato.
Yes.
We call it kumara, and it used to be about 6 months ago. It was about $5 something a kg, which is still quite, expensive, but not that much. And now it's sitting at about $8.
Okay. And what's going on with the needles in the food? Is it needles, sewing needles found in fruit? Has that hit New Zealand yet?
No, not yet. No.
It's just Australia.
Was that Did it happen in Australia? Did it?
Yeah, it's been happening in Australia. So
Oh yeah.
it's not helping the fruit market. It's not helping the farmers. It's not helping anything. So what is going on in the ground? What is going on the ground there? Anything with housing? Any stories you could share with us?
At the moment, it's still the same. It's still expensive. I looked into that article we were talking about the other day. I think you brought it up, and they said that there was supposed to be a decrease in home prices, and they've gone up. So
pricing is going up in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Of housing. Wow, that's but it's already unaffordable.
Sorry, can you say that again?
It's already unaffordable.
Yeah.
So who's buying? Can you tell me who's buying these properties or who's living in these properties?
Well, as far as what we've been told as the public, it is investors, foreign investors. And I mean, you can't really, that could be anyone from overseas. There has been
well, we know
refugees as well. They're using state housing for refugees at the moment.
Oh wow! But what about all the New Zealand proper that's sleeping in cars?
Yeah.
That's going to be a low blow, and oh, you know what I wanted, because it's Mike in the Night. Because with Mike in the Night, it's open mic. You know what? What happened? Okay, tell us what happened with Stefan Molyneux. And the whole...
Oh,
yeah, bring that up, because it's Mike in the Night. We talk about everything. Go ahead, tell us your story about it.
So, we like everyone else in New Zealand, when we heard that they were coming, we're like, cool. We saw, because she was over in Australia, and we'd sort of seen a bit of Stefan, we kind of almost expected the whole free speech thing, but we didn't think it was going to be such a big issue as it was. Like, it was amplified quite a lot more in New Zealand than we sort of thought it was going to be. And like, we obviously didn't buy tickets to go see them, but we still wanted to, we wanted to hear about how it was going afterwards. And New Zealand media's coverage of them was quite inaccurate and just poor, really. So that it already had a bad echo chamber, to the public. And because most people, if they haven't watched their videos or anything, they sort of just go with what everyone else is saying. And then so that also became an issue because we had something going on in New Zealand politics between the university and Don Brash, who used to be the leader of the National Party. And that had nothing to do with free speech. That was political back and forth between him and another woman over something called the Hobson's Pledge, and that was something that Don Brash passed, and it was a legislation to let the public have a referendum vote on whether they were going to have Māori-only wards. So they'd get the Māoris of New Zealand, they'd get their own wards in the hospitals and stuff.
Right.
So he gave the public the opportunity to do that, and they voted against them. And then, so it actually ended up being a public vote, but despite all that, still she decided to say what he was saying was hate speech, and then it got out of hand, and it got mixed into the Stefan Molyneux and why can't I remember her name? Oh, Lauren Southern, sorry.
Yeah, Lauren. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it all got mixed into that. And then this crazy dialogue, like similar stuff. You guys see lots of the free speech sort of rubbish going on in the media, and it was kind of a mixture of all that, to the point where they thought they had a venue up until the last minute, and then it got shut down. And I couldn't believe it, man.
Did you see what a lot of those people, a lot of those leftists were saying about them? How they don't want we as Australia, they were speaking for the whole country?
Yeah. Like,
who are these people? Why are you speaking for the entire country for?
I know.
Like, that'd be that'd be very embarrassing on my end. Like, it'd be like, wow, really? So
Yeah.
So that left a scar on New Zealand. Definitely left a scar because I mean every English speaking country was talking about that.
Yep.
And yeah. So foreign investors in New Zealand doing their thing and buying up investment properties. It's happening in Australia. It's happening in Canada, and it's happening in the west coast of the United States. Do you see a lot of do you see empty homes, or are they all rented?
Majority of them are rented. Yeah.
Okay.
That we see. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good. At least that people have a place to live. So what's with the huge shortage? Why are so many people sleeping rough then?
Because the rent's outrageous. It's just increasing and increasing. And it's interesting because we've the new government's said they've put a lot of funding into things, so it'll be interesting to see how that transpires. But prior to the Labour government, this sort of downfall with the standard of living and the raise in housing prices was a little bit of a consequence of National under their system, and so that's where we started selling off a lot of our land and our New Zealand businesses and things like that.
Who did you sell the land?
Sort of,
who were the land and businesses sold to?
Chinese investors, American investors. Do you know anything about Fonterra, Mike?
Nope. Tell us.
Okay, so Fonterra came to New Zealand. As far as we've been told, they're a American globalist company. They contributed to something called the TPPA, the Trans-Pacific Partner.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And so they were part of all that, and even that TPPA stuff aside, Fonterra came in and they brought out about 90% of our dairy industry. And then what they did after that was because they started dictating the market, they eventually, sort of had the power to dictate the prices and everything as well. And so what ended up happening is the farmers who hadn't sold out to them, because they were dictating the market, what Fonterra did is they dropped the milk price by 90 cents a litre, and that doesn't sound like much, but if you think about how much dairy product we export, it ends up being quite a lot. And then what they did is they doubled the price of feed for the cattle. So the people who weren't part of the Fonterra partnership not only had sell their milk for less, they had to pay double the price of feed. This resulted in a lot of them selling off their stock and, for cheaper than they would, just to maintain their farm. One man I spoke to in the South Island, his farm had been in his family for, I think it was 6 generations. And he ended up having to sell everything. His wife left him, the whole 9 yards, the whole downfall sort of happened. And he lost everything that had been in his family because he ended up having to sell it to them because he didn't have much choice.
Oh my God. I'm just trying to digest what you're telling me because this is actually a big deal. So these farmers were strong-armed into basically using mafia tactics to basically destabilize their homegrown businesses.
Yeah.
Wow. So they raised the price of feed, and then they lowered the price of milk to basically deplatform these people.
Yes.
That is phenomenal. Wow. I did not know that. That's why we have people on from all over the English-speaking world that could rein in on what is happening. I did not know that. That is a huge, huge problem. And what's happening now? So they sold out to Chinese investors. And I guess these people have lost. I guess they lost the farm. Is that what you're?
I've got some more. I just found my interview notes, which are good. So I've got some more stuff here handy for you.
Sure.
So what happened is a lot of the farmers that are still there have ended up firing staff to cut their costs. And depending on the time of the season, they usually got a 12-hour day, right? And that will be like during milking and calving season, is about maybe 9 to 10 hours. And it depends on the size of the farm. And so they started using machinery and things to cover their staffing costs. But even with machinery, it's still a lot of work. And if you can't afford, obviously, to help staff keep your farm maintained, production goes down, etc., all that sort of stuff happens.
Holy crap. Okay, continue.
Well, something else I found out about that, and I don't know how accurate this would be, but I found a correlation between the amount of male suicides in the South Island around the same time the prices started dropping. Mm-hmm. And because this originally happened in 2004, so this is going all the way back to then. And when that happened, we had a really bad drought in New Zealand for 2 summers in a row, and that affected everything. Are you there?
Wow.
Sorry.
Wow. I'm right here. I'm listening to. I'm just digesting everything you're telling me, because this is so. There was an increase in suicides. Mm-hmm. Wow. So this is affecting people.
And also an increase in violent crime as well.
Well, people need to eat, right? Mm-hmm. And that's how you turn honest people into criminals.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Mike, tell me what you think about this. This is something a question I've been asking for a long time, is why do they always go for the farmers? Like, if you think about the way like a society works in agriculture and things like that, the food suppliers, you got to look after the guys who know what they're doing with the farm, because you want these farms to be working at their, most efficient. And it's like, well, don't you think they take more consideration into people like farmers?
Well, it's how well it's probably one of the best questions I've had tonight. But why is South Africa doing it to its farmers? Why is Colombia doing it to its farmers? Why is Mexico doing it to its farmers? Why is Canada doing it to its farmers? Like, why? And you know what? I think once you have a disruption in the food chain, it starts to manipulate prices, and that's how the bigger corporations get their foot in the door or get themselves a higher hedge on the market.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. I think the corporations like Monsanto and stuff, once they're not allowed in the country, they try to sue the country, they try to bully the country, they try to manipulate the country, and it's all their food, and it's all about food.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's all about giving the bigger power player a bigger, instead of giving the family-owned business, family-owned hired business, family-owned everything, the upper edge against these big conglomerates. They're working against us. And to line their pockets, political funding, and hey, remember I paid for your this and paid for your advertising on the news or on this channel? Well, it's our turn to collect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And a lot of these corporations are mafia. You don't want to be in debt with these people.
Yeah.
I would rather be in debt with La Cosa Nostra, the Italian mob, than be with these corporations. Yeah. Yeah, because once you're involved with these corporations and they politically shame people. They have the power to do they have the power to do anything. And that's what we are, and this is what's happening. We are bowing down to the almighty corporation, and our politicians are pulling the strings. And the people above our politicians that are behind the whole thing are pulling their strings, and it's an ongoing agenda. And it's, like I said, disruption of the food chain, manipulate prices, and get the corporations hedged better than the average working Joe.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that sounds pretty accurate.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to get people. Okay, we got somebody. I got Daniel Martellini in the comments. You know what he's saying? In 1974, Henry Kissinger suggested using food as a weapon to induce targeted population reduction in previously classified 200-page report of the National Security Study Memorandum 200. Yeah. So it could be a tool, a weapon. But let me ask you something, if that's okay. When are we going to get our media back? When is media going to be our watchdog again? When is media going to be there for us? When is media going to actually protect us from things, or actually inform us on what's going on, and actually give us an upper leg, or give us an upper hand, or give us... when's the media going to become a watchdog again?
Well, I have a theory. It's not based on anything but my own,
yeah, of course,
my own sort of thing. And I think, based on sort of what we've been seeing, I think the media, the mainstream media, will kind of implode and destroy itself, and you can kind of already see that happening. And then they'll realize, you know, when they've completely self-destructed, and then they'll slowly repatch and try to start again, and realize that it'd be better to, you know, just go back to how they used to be.
Well, it's really... do you think it's tough for them to be how they used to be when we have freedom of choice through internet? Or are they going to start segregating internet and making it impossible for us to actually know something? What do you think?
Well, I think they're going to go try more the segregated internet way. Like, it's already sort of started happening. And it depends. It's like, even though this is going to make it sound real simple, it almost comes down to a, like, right or wrong thing. So it's going to be like, are they going to come together collectively and be like, are we going to do what's right, or are we going to go where the money is? You know, but I also think, you know, it's not all bad. We're at a good point. Like, we've got people like you and me just having conversations. We've got lots of sort of independent media now, because, you know, everyone's sort of getting sick of it, and that's created a lot of these different platforms which are sort of dedicated to giving you the right information, and that might almost be the new media. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it could be. Because remember what those old guys were it's this old thing that we learned in high school. There's a bunch of old guys sitting around a table, and there's an old recording, and they said, the media is the message. So it doesn't matter where you broadcast from. It doesn't matter how big your platform is. If your message is getting out there to 1 or to 1,000 or 1,000,000 people, somebody is receiving the message.
Yeah.
And that is the way, and they've been using it to brainwash, and then what we've been receiving is what we don't want to be hearing.
Yeah.
So, are you happy that Gavinoff got in the Supreme Court?
Oh, I'm stoked. I saw that this morning. I was, woo!
Yes.
Justice!
Yes, yeah. Oh, 100 years ago, this happened and this happened. It's like, yeah, you know? Yeah.
I really like, I can't remember, it was a couple of days ago in Donald Trump's speech. I really like how when he said, what did he say? He goes, that guy's a good guy, leave him alone. You guys can, you know, throw all those insults at me, call me whatever you want, but, you know, this guy, just let him do his job, sort of thing. I thought that was really good, like, because Trump doesn't care, he does it for a living. He's like, you know, come at me.
Yeah, because...
Whereas it's like, he's right, leave the guy to it.
Exactly, like Donald Trump likes to jump on the grenade.
Yeah.
You know, so, yeah. Well, that's good. I'm happy. I'm happy that you're happy. I was happy, too. Everybody was... A lot of people I know is really happy. People, you know, they're just... Like, sorry, I just have somebody trying to call me here at the same time while I'm on Skype. But yeah, I just wanted to, get your reaction on that. So, okay, we'll let you do your thing, and enjoy the rest of your day there, and we'll keep in touch, and maybe, you know, whatever you research through the week or find out, whatever you research through the week and find out, just get back to us and let us know what's going on, and let us know what's happening with the farming there. Let us know what's happening in general. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Mike.
Yep, thank you.
Have a good one.
Good night. So Rex Cohen called me 4 times in 4 minutes. Anyways, okay, so that's our Brooke there in Field Marshal Marshall. Check out her channel. Guys, let's get her to 100 subs. She's at 24. She's really good. She knows what she's talking about. She does research. She takes notes. She had papers. Please subscribe to her channel, guys. She's at 24 subs. Let's get her to 100 subs by the end of this next week or two, please. I know it's so hard to get your voice heard on social media nowadays with all the filtering and all the stuff that's happening. So, let's move on. We got a call. Okay, who's available here? Let's see here. Mr. James. 11 p.m. here. Should be online for a little while. Well, that was... When did he message me? Ooh, that was quite a bit ago. So I message people through the day, see who wants to come on the show. Evan, our truth analyst, is running errands. And, oh, I got a Michigan farmer video here to watch later. And it's funny how, just like Brooke told, just what Brooke was messaging, saying, basically, guys, we got an update here on the McGregor fight. I got to bring this up because there's so much hype around this. So before I read off the headline, there's so much attack on farming, on the farming industry. There's so much attack happening, you know what I'm saying? Someone's asking me if I could try Hangouts. I don't know, Google Hangouts. The only problem with Hangouts is, guys, let me know if Hangouts, if I'm allowed to use phone only, audio only, because the problem is, with Google Hangouts, unless I can use Google Hangouts on my phone, only, just on the phone, because it disturbs the camera, and then with the camera, it just doesn't work. It's weird. It cuts off my feed, and then it cuts off the feed from my mic, my audio, and it uses the camera audio. So, yeah, okay, you can do audio only. Okay, I'll get Google Hangouts for my phone and go from there. Okay, well, let's see who's... I'm getting messages here. Massive post-fight brawl. Mars Khabib to win over McGregor at UFC 229. Whoa. There's a brawl. Wow, into the crowd. Violence spilled from the cage into the crowd. T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Wow. Wow, that's heavy duty, guys. Anyways, I don't do sports. I don't care. But I just kind of wanted to throw that out there because everybody today has been talking about that. So, all right, where were we? Where were we? So, Mike, can you make a video on how to purchase stocks? I could show you how to purchase stocks. It's not that hard. The only problem I have is that I can't give any financial advice because, I mean, they're looking for any way to shut channels down. Like, but let's see if Mr. Mexico's home, or Sydneyer, who's living in Mexico. I wonder if he's okay. Or Sydneyer in Mexico. Where is he, man? Where is he? Yeah, he's not on right now. So, Mr. Mexico is not on right now. So, I don't want to bug him. He's probably partying right now. So, I'm not going to bug him. I got Sam here. Is he online? Then I'll be free. Somebody just got back for church. All right, let's see if my man Sam is on. He hasn't been on in 50 minutes. But he's north of Perth. So let's see what he's got to tell us in Australia.
Hello?
Sammy.
Hey, Mike, how you going?
Good. How are you, my friend? Are you washing dishes there?
No, I was doing it. It's just had something to eat.
Okay. Are you free to talk?
Yeah, buddy. It's all, yeah.
Okay, what's going on, buddy? What's going on? You're live right now. What's going on? Tell us.
Well, not too much here in the northwest. Pretty much the same. You're still getting a bit more of the housing unwinding. It's starting to come out a bit more frequently in the mainstream media.
Yeah.
It's all come up as a...
So they're basically starting, I guess, calling a spade. Is that, are we at a spade yet, or no? Or they're just slowly getting to the point? Are you there, bud?
Yeah, sorry, just a second. Yeah. They get into a... They're trying to say, oh, it's going to be a soft landing and all the rest of it, and it's just slowly unwinding, and that's good because, you know, the first home buyers are going to be able to buy into the market, but that'll be just another tool they use to pump up the prices for a short while longer, I suppose.
Yeah. So prices in your area are going down. I remember you telling me that story where houses went up to $1.4 million.
Yeah, this is a bit different here because it's a big resource town, so we're based around oil and gas, right. LNG mainly, liquefied natural gas and iron ore. So we had a huge construction boom where they built new plants and built a new gas plant and new mines, everything like that. So there was a massive influx of workers, and then obviously supply wasn't there at the start, and the demand was through the roof, and that sort of changed, you know, flipped sides, and then we had a huge crash here. Mm-hmm. There was massive speculation, and in this town, well, they spruiked it all over, where they spruiked the investment properties in this town, like guaranteeing 10-11% returns.
Wow.
But they were doing that all over the state, and even into eastern states as well. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So you had condos. They built these new condos, as you call them. They built two massive ones, and they were selling a one-bedroom unit for like $650,000.
Wow. Yeah, 650 large. That's incredible. Did you watch last week's show when I had the guy from Mexico on the show that left Sydney and he's living in Mexico now?
No, I didn't watch that one, man.
Oh, dude, you better watch that one. It's on my channel. It says, Sydneyer lives in Mexico now, too expensive. Wow. And you gotta watch that one because it's really good. He brings up some really good points of what's happening, you know what I'm saying? So, okay, price of gas in your area. What's gas going for per liter?
Yep, I filled up today. The price of petrol is about $1.65, $1.66 a litre. Okay, that's for the cheap. That's for your 91 octane stuff. If you want the 95, that's like $1.80 a litre.
Okay, that's what they're charging in Vancouver, right? About $1.60 right now, and. Yeah. Rumors floating around. Major grocery chains set to increase prices of food. Is that going to happen in your neck of the woods, or what do you think?
It probably would do, because we've got more or less a duopoly here. You've got Coles and Woolworths. They're the only two. Mm-hmm. So they can more or less set their own prices. And similar to the lady in New Zealand was saying, you had the dairy farmers here were pushed to the wall with the supermarkets competing for milk prices. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we've had I don't know if you've heard of any of the issues surrounding live exports. Like, we actually export a lot of live animals for meat to the Middle East.
Wow.
So they've hammered farmers with that as well here. And,
wow.
And over east, you had the massive. Well, they're still going through a drought there, as far as I know.
What are your weekly spending? What do you spend on a week on average on food? Let's say, what do you, $160, $240?
Oh, you'd be sort of $250 probably.
Wow, that's $1,000 a month.
I live in a regional area, Mike, so the prices are a little bit higher than you'd get in the major cities, and we don't have the choice as well. So
yeah, okay. So that's still $250. That's $1,000 a month. That's 12 large a year in food. I guess it's coming to $1,000 a month on average for the average family. I think every average family across the board is going to have to give in to $1,000 a month for food.
Definitely.
I'm thinking
and that'd be the same in Perth, and the wages down there aren't real good. And like I said before, quite often in Perth you've got big commutes to do every day because it's pretty spread out. Like the suburbs are massively spread out. So with the price of fuel going on, I mean, you see in Perth there'll be a place that sells petrol for 5-6 cents a litre cheaper than everywhere else, and there's queues for people to get it.
Holy, really? But you probably burn more gas waiting in the queue.
Yeah, I know it's sad because I live down in Perth for a bit. The people be queuing if all of a sudden it's 6 cents a litre at this service station and there's a bit of a queue there,
So, do you notice? I've been noticing that the Australian dollar has been getting hammered lately in the markets. I'm just afraid that Australia is going to have such a devalued currency that it's going to have a really tough time purchasing energy and purchasing any imports into the country.
Well, definitely, yeah. See, we produce a lot of our own oil, and there are refineries in Australia.
Okay.
But a lot of refining of fuels is done in Singapore, so they actually ship the oil there to be refined and then shipped back to Australia, the fuel. So,
yeah, that's for plastics and stuff, right? And rubbers and stuff for tires, right?
For that and fuel for vehicles as well.
And wow. So, okay, yeah, I just wanted to touch base with you, see how you're doing out there. And, yeah, that's really interesting to know. It's really interesting to see where things are headed. Where do you see things headed in this springtime? Australia, it's spring. How are spring sales? You see a lot of spring sales there?
No, not so much really. But like you said, that's meant to be the big lift in the market. In spring, everybody's, the weather comes a bit better. Mm-hmm. Everybody's looking to sell houses and what have you. But I follow a guy called, I don't know if you've ever heard of him, Martin North.
Yeah, I heard of that guy. Yes. Yeah,
he just gives you all the data of all the sales and everything else, and he runs his own market sales, and he'll show you that this year from last year, you're just not seeing that uplift in sales. It's actually falling, and the auction and clearing rates are falling. So
consumer spending is down, and I think consumers to buy homes is at one of the all-time lows. So people don't trust it. They don't trust the market. They don't trust what the media is telling them. They don't trust their real estate agents. They don't trust their banks. Now with the RBA and all those guys getting investigated, you know what I'm saying, with the Royal Commission, no one trusts nobody anymore. So I think you're going to see a huge decline in the markets for everything because nobody wants to spend frivolously anymore.
No, that sentiment's starting to shift now where you had it all buoyant and the housing prices always goes up and the economy's booming, this, that and the other, and that sentiment's slowly catching up with reality. We think, things maybe aren't that good. We've had the tap turned off from China with their buying up all these places over east, and if that's died and everything else, and the dollar's getting hammered, and now the banks are starting to actually look at people with the finances, see where they can actually afford a mortgage. Because that is ridiculous to just throwing money around like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah,
I'll tell you a bit of a story on that one, Mike.
Yes, please.
I was working in a big LNG construction project in WA, Western Australia, and there's big money there, but obviously it's contract work, so you're only going to be there a year or two or 3 years at most, you know what I mean? So they look at your finances and you can see, well, you earn over 200k a year because you're working in this construction job. And then they go, right, yeah, we've approved you for a loan of over $1 million. Well, if you actually looked into it and said, well, actually, you're on a contract, that's not full-time employment.
Sorry.
They've actually started to do the proper looks into people's spending and income, and that's what you're seeing. You're just getting a touch of reality. Well, maybe you can't afford that property, and properties don't always go up,
Yeah, well, a lot of people were fooled, and the greater fool. People thought that thought that the markets will keep going up, and they believed everything. They hook, line, and sinker. They believed it. They followed, and they're paying for it now. You know what I'm saying?
That's it. See, I come from the UK originally, and I left there just as the market crashed then in the start of 2009.
Mm-hmm.
That was the same thing there. They were throwing money at everyone, and then all of a sudden that sentiment changed. You seen it early with that Northern Rock Bank that went bust. But then, I don't know if people realise that obviously the States got hit pretty hard and Europe, but Australia never really did. You know, it sort of scraped through with the QE measures and whatever. I think Kevin Rudd was in power then.
Mm-hmm.
But so people here aren't that averse to risk. They're quite nonchalant, really. Where they're like, oh yeah, I'll get a loan for this and a loan for that, and then I'll get houses, and then I'll get all these investment properties, and they're just not that risk averse. And I think because they've gone on for so long without a major recession or anything, that it's going to hit hard here. You can see that.
I got Daniel Martinelli in the comments saying that shows the economy is based on debts. People are spending theoretical equity. Next step is debts need to be paid back, and retail jobs, etc., falls off a cliff. And that's very true. Very, very true in the.
Well, that'll be the thing to go. People start tightening the belts, don't they? You know, and they stop spending, and then all the retail, and then it just snowballs, you know.
Yeah, it becomes an absolute nightmare is what happens, and it's the ultimate. And I feel sorry for the politicians that are in power when this really hits hard. We're only about 7% of it right now. We're at 7% of impact. We're like our I don't know how to explain it. Like our collapsing building is only 7% collapsed. It's not full blown yet. Watch when the building fully collapses. You're gonna see and it's gonna be disaster. It's gonna be mayhem.
Yeah, definitely. I don't particularly feel sorry for the politicians in this country because they get looked after like you wouldn't believe.
Oh no, I don't feel sorry for them. I don't feel sorry for them at all. Oh, I don't feel sorry for any politician, but I actually feel sorry for the people in power that are going to take the brunt of this, because it's going to be pitchforks. It's going to be pitchforks, tar, and feathering.
Definitely. I tell you, talking to my mate Evan, and I've said it before to him, and that this reminds me so much of sort of 08 or 09 in the UK when Tony Blair stood down and let Gordon Brown take over.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember, he was the Chancellor of the UK for so long through their massive housing bubble and all the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
So he stood down, and then Brown took up, and then he copped it, when it all fell over. And Australia's the same. So we got Scott Morrison, who was the Treasurer. He's sort of the equivalent to the Chancellor in the UK. So, Malcolm Turnbull's going to sail away into the sunset and probably get a job in the UN or something. And Morrison's left there to front all this lot when it all starts falling over, eh?
Why don't these people just get lost? Instead of getting a job in the UN and create more damage, why don't they just go find a secluded place in Costa Rica, enjoy the rest of their lives, and die?
Well, I think a lot of them are psychopaths out there, and they crave the power. They crave the power and the status and everything else. I mean, look at Tony Blair. When he left power,
mm-hmm.
and somebody must have a sense of humour, because he went to work for the UN as a Middle East peace envoy.
It's like when they gave Obama. It's like when they gave Obama a Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah, it's just rubbing your face in it, eh? It's like.
If
you got mass murderers and they're getting peace prizes and everything else.
I don't know. Like, if I was Tony Blair and I left and this and that, I wouldn't go become I'd buy a nicely sized sailboat, take my wife, and just sail around the world, enjoy life, go check out things and do things, and that's what I do.
Well, I don't know about Tony Blair. I don't know if you've seen his wife, eh? Maybe you won't want to sail away with her.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, I don't know. But I'm just putting that out there. But anyway.
But you said, you think they would just, evaporate into the background, but they always stay in the, in those circles of power and influence, and maybe they go into, other councils on things and NGOs, and they still got the finger in the pie, so to speak.
But
like Tony Blair coming out of the woodwork telling the Brits how they should vote on Brexit. I mean, he's what a hypocrite, you know.
Yeah.
As if anything he says has any credence when he was telling you that, you know, Iraq's got weapons of mass destruction, all the rest of it.
Oh, I'm not going to let that
It's a
down.
joke.
I'm going to pass that information on to my children, because you know what's going to happen is Wikipedia and all those powers to be on the internet are just going to just change the history as we go along. So 100 years from now, if I'm still alive, I won't be alive, but if I could be here 100 years from now, I could bet you 100 to 1 bet in favor that we go to the archives and it's going to say that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. That's why it was invaded. And that's how they're going to change history. And believe me, 100 years from now, it will say that. You could mark my words, it will say that in the history books.
Well, history is always written by the victors, eh? His story, you know, that's where the word comes from. So it's always skewed.
Well, Tony Blair's story is going to be a man of nobleness and greatness who stole from the rich and gave to the poor, and they'll erect a statue 100 years from now for him, and make him like, you know what I'm saying, like Jebediah Springfield in the The Simpsons show. History, it just I don't know, and people believe this stuff because they're not here to see what's happening. That's why I want to pass this information to my children, word of mouth, so they understand what's happening and what's really happening. So if history does change later on, my daughter would say, no, my dad told me when I was small that this happened and this happened. Why are they telling us this now? You know what I'm saying?
That's it. They'll be going through school and you'll have a different version of what the teacher's telling you, and then you'll be getting castigated for saying, oh, how do you know this? You know, that's...
Yeah.
Well, as the kids are getting indoctrinated through the state schools, that's the drama, though, eh?
Yeah, that's exactly where it's
But
going.
as long as you know the truth's the truth, it should be able to stand on its own 2 feet.
That's correct. That's correct. All right, brother. I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to us about what's happening there, and I appreciate it. Keep your pulse, keep your ear to the ground on what's happening with housing, and keep your ear to the ground on gas prices. Keep your ear to the ground on political disputes that's happening there. Or I also want to cover right-leaning politicians that are being censored in your area that are not allowed to speak because they want a better life for you.
Yeah, definitely. That's a big thing,
Yeah.
especially in Australia.
So let me ask you one last question. When is media going to come back? I asked the same thing to the other Brooke, and I asked it to everybody else. When are we going to get our media back? I believe that media died on November 22nd, 1963, was the day our media, rest in peace, passed away, and journalism pretty much went along with it. Everything. So now, when people go to journalism school and stuff, they're already being trained on how to approach the left and become a leftist, and they're getting taught false histories, so they already know where their agenda lies when they become full-blown reporters. When are reporters going to be watchdogs again? When is the media going to be on our side? Tell me.
Well, I think you need to look at who actually owns the media, Mike, you know, which I think in America it's like just about all of American media is owned by about 4 companies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so they've all got vested interests and they want to mold your perception in the way they want it, you know, so you perceive things they want you to perceive, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why you got every news story come out. I just analyze them and see what are the talking points, the actual final summary they want me to hold in my head once this piece is finished.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see how they try and skew you. So it's you got to be very careful. You know, even watching films and everything else, it's the same deal. Who owns these companies? Who owns the media? And you'll find out why it's the way it is and why it's used as a weapon, an absolute weapon at times to mold opinion and brainwash people. You know, at least like North Korea, it's pretty overt. You know it's brainwashing, but in the West, it's a lot more subtle.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. But the way you're doing it yourself with doing this is how we're gonna have to get the truth out, and you know, just give an alternative to the paid-for mainstream media that's got a hidden agenda.
Yeah, I think this is the
I
media.
don't see it coming back anytime soon. Not mainstream, because it's too far gone.
Yeah, Dinosaur Media. Yeah, I think it's us. I think it's me, you, all our callers. We're the message now.
Exactly, that's it. And people need to think for themselves and not let the media do the thinking for them, don't they? You know, that's the big thing.
Yeah, that's a really good insight on that. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day there. And yeah, just well, keep your finger on the pulse and let us know what's going on, okay, bro?
Will do, mate. Take care, mate.
Good night,
All the
Sam.
best.
Good night, Sam.
See you, bud. Bye.
Bye. So that's our man, Sam. Sam, the man with a plan. Really good guy. North of Perth. West Australia, Northwest Australia. Really has some good points, really good key points. But, you know, I'm just really saddened how our media basically betrayed us. Newspapers, magazines, or they kind of usher you into an advertising. You're reading an article and then it tries to sell you something. Oh, God. It's like... It's all, and now it's going to get worse because now consumer spending is at its lowest since it's been since 1989, and now people are afraid to spend now. It's going to take a huge toll on a lot of things, and it's scary, guys. It's scary, guys. Let's see who else we got here. Who is on, guys? Who is on right now? Who is on Skype? Who is on Skype? Here we go. Let's see if my man Anon is here. He's probably at work or something. No dice. He isn't online. Alright, Anon is not online. Ladies and gentlemen, Anon has left the building. Anon has left the building. Brett's offline. Everybody's offline. But it's late, man. Everyone's sleeping. It's like... It's 11, 12, 1. Well, it's 1 o'clock on the East Coast right now. Anon saying I was banned from Skype. No, you're not. You're still here. You're still here, Anon. Here, I'll even text you. Hi. Here you go. Message went through. Oh, he tried logging in and they want me to verify my identity and won't let me back on. I can't log in. Weird. Wow. 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 Well, everyone else's Skype seems to be working. Let me know, guys, if you guys have, if you guys are seeing any problems. Trends in the housing market. I want to get Alex Dulganas on Wednesday. Bradley Watson. I want to try and get him on. He's on Skype now. Couple of real estate agents from all over. Real estate agents, lenders, banking people, to give us a foresight of what's really going on. Alex is really good because he actually... it's bizarre. He actually tells it how it is. It's weird. He actually says that this is what's happening. People are leveraged to the tits. This is happening. People are defaulting. And I'm doing a fourth mortgage on a person's house and blah, blah, blah. It's like, holy crap. That's a good guy to have on the show because he knows what's happening in the inside. Closes deals for people. And, yeah. Anyways, guys, I'm approaching my 2.5 hour of the show. And I'm running out of gas right now. Well, Mr. James, I think, is messaging me right now. I think, I think he might be available. Ooh, he's a Sydney insider. Here, let me call this guy. Let me see if he's available. He looks like he's trying to message me. Hello?
Hello?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, ¿cómo estás?
Estoy bien. Oh my God, you're Mr.
Muy bien, muy bien.
That's right, you're Mr. Mexico, right? No.
Yeah, that's right, man.
Yeah, so how's Acapulco?
Great as always.
Yeah?
Nice and warm weather.
Yeah, I know, it's amazing weather. Don't you like when you go out on the balcony and you feel the breeze?
Yeah, it's great. The weather's really predictable over here. It's always about 29 degrees, 30 degrees every day.
I know. Yeah.
And then at night you get all the pretty much every night is thunderstorms and rain.
Yep. Yeah, it's good. It cools it down a bit and yeah.
Yeah, it cools down overnight. It's perfect.
Okay, so how are you doing? It's been a week now since we last spoke. Is everything okay?
Was that a week ago, was it? Wow, that went quick.
Yeah, time flies when you're in Acapulco.
It does indeed, yes.
And
yeah.
Have you got a job? So tell us what's going on. Break it down.
I'm just keeping on, man. Yeah, I'm still looking for online jobs here and there. Trying to find some ways to get some income streams online. Just doing a bit of research into that. But yeah, I was just tuned into your stream. It's like 1 a.m. here, and I couldn't sleep, so I came up and you were still on stream. So I was just about to message you, and you called me.
Yeah. Are you missing Australia yet? Minus friends and family, I'm talking.
No, still not missing it.
Yeah, I know.
No way.
Yeah, I know.
Having too much fun over here.
Well, I want to give you a little bit of advice, okay?
Sure.
When I lived in Mexico, or even when I lived in Miami, I really didn't want to leave because of the pride. I was too proud.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, the pride. Like, I can't show people that I'm a failure. I can't show people that I'm a failure. You know, you can't. Yeah. Trust me, I was in your shoes. Believe me, I know how you feel. Believe me to the letter. I know how you feel.
Yeah.
But eventually, after a year or two, the magic number for Mexico is always 2 years. If you could stay 2 years,
It's interesting. It's interesting you say that, because after I spoke to you, I was thinking of like other options, like like the United States and Canada and stuff. Like, how hard would it be for an Australian to move to Canada? I did a quick Google search, and it seems like it's quite a process.
It is a huge process. What I recommend. I know I shouldn't be giving this advice out, and you're not married, right?
No, I'm single.
I know you're single, but just to make sure, you're not married anywhere in the world on paper. Like you've never been married, is what I'm saying.
Sorry, mate, you're cutting out a bit.
You've never been married. You've never been married before, right?
Never been married. No, I've just had girlfriends, and that's it.
That's good. Okay, because if you've been married, it's a little bit, because then they look at, did you get a divorce to move to America or whatever. My advice to you is just to marry a bird from America.
Yeah, I was actually thinking the same thing. Like, I'm not making any decisions yet, but I'm just sort of brainstorming. You know what I mean?
No, 2 years. 2 years is 2 years in Mexico is good. Like, 2 years gives you a really understanding. It gives you. You know what's gonna happen is you're gonna end up finding yourself in the next 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
Once you find yourself. Yes, you're gonna find yourself, my friend. Once you do, you can continue to stay in Mexico if the cards work right and you're happy. But if you want to go, like I said, if you like Mexico, I would just move to New Mexico. Because when you live in New Mexico, they call Mexico Old Mexico, right?
Well, New Mexico is in the States, yeah?
Yeah, it's on the border of Mexico.
Yep.
And I keep talking about this small town that I really want you to look at. It's called Las Cruces.
And that's in New Mexico, yeah?
Yep, and it's in New Mexico. It's close to the Mexican border. And it is, I'm going to pull up pictures for people to see. I've been there. It's very colonial, and I believe that it's going to be an up-and-coming town. It's got beautiful mountains in the background there from the Rockies. It's got beautiful homes. Wow. I don't know if you can see your computer right now, but this is what hotels look like. I mean, the view from the hotel balcony. Yeah, Las Cruces, I think, because it's still affordable to live there, and because there is obviously work, and you could find work.
Because that's sort of the deal breaker, isn't it? Like you've got to sort of get work in the country first, and then work your way towards citizenship. Is that correct?
Well, you won't be able to.
I know the United States and Canada are pretty picky.
Yeah, you won't be able to live. You won't be able to work in the United States. Period.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's why.
So how would one move there?
They set it up so you don't move there. That's the problem. Yeah. So I spent 5 years there. I got a tax ID number, and I actually owned a company, and I employed, I think it was up to 11 people at one time.
Okay.
And they
given those tax dollars over to the government.
And
good man.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they just did not give me. They wouldn't give me the chance. They wouldn't give me.
So you did everything right. But they still wouldn't let you.
Because I went to the interview and they said, "Well, we're not looking for your kind right now."
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Rejected.
Yeah, it was rejected. So I have no criminal background. I've never been arrested. I've never even been driven home by the police for misbehaving on the streets or anything.
Yeah, well, I've got that going for me as well. I don't have a criminal record, so
yeah, I've never done nothing.
Bonus, but that's probably doesn't even matter these days. It's pretty tight.
No, it's not. So, unfortunately.
And so what do you reckon Canada's a better bet?
No. See, well, Canada has its open border policy thingy right now.
Okay.
So they do have an open border policy thingy here with our government that's, if you don't like what Trump's doing, come up to Canada, right? So that's kind of happening here right now. So I don't know if it's just... You're smart.
But the thing is, like, if I'm looking at the future at the moment, the debt levels in Canada, America, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, China, like the debt levels are just insane, and something's going to have to happen. Something's going to have to break, and
yeah, I think
it's like it's sort of just it's like a matter of time. It's not if when. It's not if, it's when. Sorry.
Yeah, it's not if it's going to happen. It is going to happen.
So it's like maybe I just ride it out in Mexico while everything goes to shit.
Yeah, I see. I hear you.
And then think about moving back to buying a cheap property in Australia in a couple of years or something.
Yeah, you could try to pull that off. Yeah, but the thing is, there's one thing you need to factor in. Is that time is passing. Regardless, you are going to get older.
That's true.
You will get older. So you make sure you use your time wisely in Mexico. Use the time in Mexico to find out who you really are. And then once you could find out who you are, I think you could spend the rest of your life a happy man. Because that's when I spent 2 years in Mexico, I really found out. I really learned. Can you tell the people, please, how much you've learned since you've moved there?
Well, it's the first time I've been overseas before as well. So it's been a huge learning experience for me. I've only ever been in Australia my whole life.
Because people think you learn from books all the time.
No, experiencing a new country is it's a big deal. You learn a lot in a very short amount of time too. It was a huge culture shock as soon as I got here. So as soon as I got out of the airport and got into the taxi, straight away it was completely different. Like the speed limits are sort of agreed upon here. There's no real set speed limits. People just drive as fast as they want to. So my first experience getting into a taxi up from the airport and just thinking, wow, there's no seatbelts in this taxi, and this guy's just flexing down the down the road. But the thing is that there's rules in Mexico, but hardly anybody abides by the rules. The people don't sort of respect the government as much here than they do in Western countries. And I sort of like that about them over here as well. For that sort of reason. They're sort of giving the middle finger to the government in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, I like the Mexican. Yeah, the government can say what they want, do what they want, impose what they want. The people just do what they want and live their lives.
Yeah, of course, to an extent, but yeah, they don't follow the rules as much as it's in Western countries. That's for sure. That's sort of the first thing that you notice when you're over here. But yeah, obviously the language is the big thing. But yeah, you do learn a lot, and it has the 6 or 7 months that I've been here. I have learned a lot, but there's still probably a lot more to learn, as you said. A lot more experiences to be had, and I probably, now that I'm working over here, I probably would be learning a lot more if I was actually working over here as well. The fact that I've been on sort of an extended holiday doesn't help.
Okay,
but,
I found something for you. Okay, so this is something to think about. Like, for example, right now, Las Cruces, 2.5 acres, $54,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just for the land.
Yeah, and then there's a house for sale, 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, 1,482 square feet, $65,000.
Wow. 65,000 US.
64.
64.
Yeah.
And
okay,
why New Mexico? Are you suggesting New Mexico?
I'm suggesting New Mexico because it's still an untapped state of potential. And I'm looking at a typical Sydney type house right now, and it's going for $69,000, and the mortgage is $316 per month.
$69,000. Do you mean $690,000?
No, $69,900. I have it right now open.
In Sydney?
No, in Las Cruces.
Oh, in Las Cruces. Yeah. Sorry, I thought that you were saying that was in Sydney.
No,
like, wow,
69,000. A Sydney type home, like a typical home you see.
Oh, Sydney type home.
Like I'm looking at it right now, and a lot of people would agree and look at that. Yeah, right. Okay, Mike, you're right. Right colors, right.
So your suggestion is to find an American girl?
I'm not allowed to tell you that because that's actually like telling you to commit a crime. Because that's actually yeah. So you're gonna marry an American bird.
I see.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah, so I'm going to, like, different places. Yeah, I mean, you could pick up places. I'm looking here, and then I'm going to look at in Santa Fe, and I'm going to look at other cities there in New Mexico. The reason why I keep telling you Mexico is because, like I said, it's a very untapped state, and I think with the mass migration of people coming from California, I think New Mexico is going to be, the next big one.
Yes, I was reading about that the other day. Yeah, that Californians are leaving in mass.
Yeah.
Very high tax rates, high business tax rates, property tax rates are huge. It's almost like they're trying to get rid of the middle class.
Yep.
On purpose.
Another place I'm looking at is Albuquerque, and Albuquerque's huge. I don't know if you want the massive city life, but Albuquerque's huge. It's got stadiums.
Yeah, well, some of the states that I was looking at, some of the ones that looked good were Colorado. That looks like a good state.
It's too cold. You don't want the cold. You don't want to deal with that. Believe me.
Oh right. Does it snow most of the year? Does it?
A good portion, and the problem is the housings are way out of reach there right now.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, right there in Colorado, you're looking at about $490 to $550 for a house right now.
Okay. Yeah, because I noticed that some of the states like the states in the middle, the flyover states, they had sort of cheaper house prices, and on the coast, it's all sort of really expensive.
So I'm looking here in Albuquerque. I'm finding, let me see, in Albuquerque, Santa Fe area, 60,000, 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,700 square feet.
Wow, that's just so cheap.
And then where is this zip code 88119, 75,000. Oh, that's a rancher. It's cute. It's got a big yard. $339 a month, 75,000.
And so the weather in New Mexico would be pretty much the same as like Texas and stuff, wouldn't it?
It's got the dry, arid feeling to it, and if you're in some cities like Las Cruces and I think it's Santa Fe, it feels like you're still in Mexico.
Yeah, right.
So if you feel
still got that Mexican feel.
Yeah, because this New Mexico did belong to Mexico.
Back in the day.
Yes, when Mexico lost these territories to the Americans, when the Sam Houston and Davy Crockett and all those.
And what about California? Was California part of Mexico as well?
Yeah, California was. Why do you think they have names like Los Angeles?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It all makes sense, doesn't it?
Yep.
San Diego, San Jose.
San Francisco, Santa Cruz, San Isidro.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, like, you need to really put your finger on the pulse. Take your time. Take your 2 years in Mexico.
Yeah, no, there's a lot to think about. In a bit of a crossroads here, but I'll figure it out.
You will figure it out. You're smart. You're on your feet. You took the initiative, and you're doing the right thing. Texas is also a good one. If you really need the help, or if you really need, like, really in dire straits, I know a guy in Conroe, Texas, who could help you. Yeah. He could help you get a job, and he's got. He bought his house for $63,000 with like 16 acres of land. And
wow.
Yeah, so he's doing really well with him and his family and his wife and kids. And
so there is a chance of getting a job there. It's just not guaranteed that you get be able to migrate.
Yeah, you have to. You could get in. You could enter the United States with an Australian passport, but you need.
Yeah, I've got to get a visa first. You got to apply for it before you go. Well, that's what, because I flew through Houston before I came to Mexico, and I had to get this travel through visa. I can't remember what it was. It cost me 14 Australian dollars. It was just because I was traveling through the airport. I had to get that before I went to the States.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that existed. Well,
because I was checking in my my tickets at United Airlines, and they said, "Have you got your visa?" And I'm like, "No, I'm just traveling through the United States. So I don't need one." And she's like, "No, you're going to need one. You have to go in." So I had to rush off and quickly get one before I got on the plane.
Can you get one online before you? I mean, can you just get one online?
Well, I had to go to a travel agent that was in the airport, an accredited, retailer. To get it from there, so I'm not sure if you can do it online. Maybe you can. I don't know.
Find out if you can do it online, and see what happens with that. Yeah, because that's. But
yeah, this is later on. I'm not rushing to anything yet. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give you that advice, and make sure you go up to Tasco because you are in the state of Guerrero. I want you to go check it out.
Yeah, I will. I'll Google it, and it looks pretty interesting. So yeah, I'm going to eventually get up there one day.
Yeah,
sure.
Please get up there, and then maybe spend a day or 2, 3, 4 days in Mexico City. Spend some time in Cuernavaca. Cuernavaca is really nice. Morelos, it's another state over. You want to check out that state before, just take your time, take it all in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. Once.
Okay, hold on. Lord, hold on. I got somebody here in the comments. Lord Humunga says, Colorado has a lot of Aussies moving in, and they are welcomed. Okay. Don't lie.
Okay.
Don't lie about. He's saying don't lie about Colorado, Mike. Well, okay. So that's why we have this channel. We're getting feedback here by Lord Humongous, and he's saying basically that Australians are welcome in Colorado, and lots of them moving there. Okay, okay. So that's good to know. Yeah, my experience when I was in Denver. I didn't live there or anything, but I spent a couple of days in each major city, checked it out and stuff. Right. It's just I just don't want to deal with the colds. That's all.
Yeah, well, that's the only downside, isn't it? That it's cold. Is it cold all year round though?
No. But still, I mean.
Still, yeah.
yeah. But there's lots of good states. You just need to like everybody on this channel here. Needs to reach out and give leave feedback and also leave comments in the commentary below, and to help you out, give you information and guide you in the right direction. But you know what I'm going to do is when this video's up, I'm going to slice it and I'm going to just put our phone call in one video, and then I'm going to ask people to comment below with what they think or what they know and how they know and what's the best or blah blah blah.
Oh, yeah, with suggestions. Oh, yeah, that'd be great. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, that'll be amazing. So I'll slice this video up in a day or two when it's allowable, and I will ask people to give us an insight of what's happening or, what's going down in their neck of the woods. Indeed. And how they can help you as an Australian citizen progress in this future of yours that you have.
Yeah, indeed. Don't even know where it's going to end up yet.
That's the fun part.
See how it goes.
Like I said, the next 2 years or year and a half or 2 years, just find yourself for the next 2 years and you'll see.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. Okay, well, it's approaching my third hour and I want to go to sleep. I want to thank you so much for coming on. I think you want to go to sleep.
Yeah, it's 1:30 in the morning here, so yeah. Time to go.
Yeah, okay. Have yourself a good night, and Mr. James, and thank you so much. And we'll keep you on the pulse, okay, bud?
Indeed.
Okay.
Thanks, mate.
Good night.
Have a good one.
Good night.
Cheers, mate.
Bye. Okay, guys, I'm going to bed. Thanks for tuning in tonight. It's been a long night on the show. It's approaching our third hour. Guys, please, I want everybody to comment below in the video to give us an insight on what's happening. I really appreciate it, guys. Let's help our Mr. James out here, who is currently in Mexico and was fed up with Sydney and basically is just right now finding himself and finding what he, kind of learning is what it is. Anyways. Someone's saying, Margaret, you seem especially intelligent and honest, if anything. Yeah, good night, Lord Humongous. Good night, Anon. Good night, Daniel. Good night, Ray. Good night, Peter. Good night, Margaret O'Brien. I think we should have her on our show again. I think she was on the show a while back. I think she's in New Zealand. I don't know. Yeah. So, good night, guys. Thanks for watching.